In autumn, Notre Dame's Golden Dome is a beacon for football fans, and certain rituals must be observed, like painting the golden helmets with a Halloween twist this weekend. Fisher DeBerry and Air Force fly in today as the Irish call on the ghosts of their storied past. A touch for luck as Notre Dame hosts Air Force. Notre Dame Stadium sold out for the 154th time as the Falcons take on the Fighting Irish. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Notre Dame. Tom Hammond and Pat Hayden ready for a match between two teams with identical 5-2 records. Pat, when Air Force comes in, you think of a potent option attack, the ground game, but this Air Force team has another dimension.
Well, you're right, they do. But, remember, under Fisher DeBerry, they have run the ball well for a long, long time. And actually, 15 of his 16 years, they've ranked in the top 10. This year, running the ball, again, ranked in the top 5, 277 yards a game. But what makes this team different and unique, just as you're talking, is really their passing attack. It's really their fourth option. Mike Thiessen to the wide receiver Ryan Fleming have connected 27 times. Fleming's caught, 4 touchdowns, and Thiessen has thrown for over 1,000 yards already, 9 touchdown passes. And Tom, they're actually completing more passes for more yards than Notre Dame is, and that's the play really that Bob Davie's most concerned about today.
Well, Notre Dame comes in riding a 3-game winning streak, Pat, and freshman Matt Lovecchio at quarterback again. It'll be his 4th start. He looks pretty comfortable there.
Well, I think the coaches are really pleased with his progress, because indeed he has made progress in those starters. He's been more than just adequate. He's been very efficient in the passing game. 6 touchdowns, only 1 interception. That's a key factor. Productive running the football, and they expect a lot of their quarterback running the football. They want him to gain at least, maybe 20% of the yards rushing, and he's not repeating mistakes. That's what you worry about with an 18-year-old freshman, but he's not repeating the mistakes. And, becoming a big-time college quarterback, it's a process, it's a journey, but he's well on his way to becoming a very good college quarterback.
All right, it's a beautiful afternoon at Notre Dame, and the Air Force Falcon is getting ready to spread his wings. No tricks today, nothing but treats as Air Force meets Notre Dame. We'll be back after this message and a word from our NBC stations. Welcome back to Notre Dame. We're just a couple of moments ago. Cody, the Air Force Falcon, put on a show for the fans here. Notre Dame Stadium sold out for the 154th consecutive time. You think he flew in on his own, Pat, or did he come on the charter?
A bad place to be a mouse, I would think.
There's Cody putting on the pregame show as the Air Force flies in from Colorado Springs, and the Irish getting set to make their appearance here at Notre Dame Stadium behind their coach Bob Davie. Massed in the tunnel, having passed that famous sign that says "Play like a champion today," dating to the Newt Rockne days. There it is. And here are the Irish. And the Falcons of Air Force with an identical 5-2 record. The last time Air Force played here at Notre Dame Stadium, they beat the Irish, upsetting the then 9th-ranked Notre Dame team in overtime. The first overtime game the Irish ever played. And Air Force came away in 1996 with an overtime victory over the Irish by a score of 20-17. And on the sideline, Jim Gray is with us today. Right now, he's with Coach Bob Davie. Jim?
All right, thank you very much, Tom. Coach, you guys don't see the option a whole lot. Is it something that concerns you over there in Air Force's offense?
It's always a concern when you play a wishbone team, Jim. We did play Nebraska early in the season. We have played Navy. The thing that makes Air Force so difficult to defend is they throw the ball very efficiently. I think their quarterback's a good player. I think their wide receiver's a good player, but we have no excuses. I mean, we're well prepared. We just have to go play.
Of all the Academy of teams, usually the Air Force seems to be the most dangerous. How do you guard against what happened in '96, and what have you told your team about that?
Well, I'm sure Air Force spent a lot of time talking about '96. We really talked about 2000. I think this is a different football team right now. I have tremendous respect for Air Force. I don't think '96 has a whole lot to do with anything right now.
Good luck today, Coach. We'll talk to you at halftime.
Jim, thank you.
All right, back upstairs to you, Tom.
All right, and there is Davies' opposite number, Fisher DeBerry, in his 17th season at Air Force, and as you see, the winningest head coach in Service Academy history. That takes in Red Blake, Ben Martin, all of the great ones, and Fisher DeBerry has topped them all. Notre Dame with a 19-5 series lead. They are 3-9 at Notre Dame Air Force. They've won 3 times here of their 5 victories. And that 96 shocker in overtime as Bob Davie gets his team fired up. Beautiful day, sunny skies, 53 degrees here at kickoff time. One of the oddities concerning that 96 game is that the man who kicked the field goal, Dallas Thompson, is playing for Air Force today, not as the kicker, but as the punter. Thompson, after that 96 season, went on a church mission for a couple of years to Venezuela. Back now to complete his eligibility at Air Force and returning to the spot where he gave Air Force one of the biggest wins in that academy's history.
I thought it was interesting, Fisher DeBerry yesterday talking to his team about that 96 game as they were here for a walkthrough, kind of walking his team around different parts of the stadium where they had big moments in 96, just trying to have them remember, hey, it is possible for us to come in here and win. And it is. If they don't turn the ball over, they don't have mistakes in the kicking game, and they have a couple of trick plays, I mean, a halfback pass or a reverse, Air Force can win this game. But they're going to have to play their best game of the year.
Notre Dame will kick off. Matt McNew has it teed up to kick to Amazega. And Palmer. Amazega takes it and lets it bounce. And does it go out of bounds or into the end zone? It is out of bounds. Yep. Just at the 1-yard line. No touchback. That's a big mistake by McNew, the Notre Dame kicker, as the ball goes out of bounds. So Notre Dame has the opening kick go out of bounds, and Air Force starts from its own 35 with Miller, Hildebrand, Dayock, Joseph, and Porsche up front. The quarterback, Mike Thiessen, a run or pass threat. McKay, Brown, Becker, Fleming, third leading receiver in the Mountain West Conference, and the tight end is Moulin. Here's Thiessen at quarterback, and they open up with 3 wide receivers. So a new look from Air Force right from the start. And here is the give to McKay. And Notre Dame was ready for the play as McKay tried to get outside. Anthony Weaver with the stop along with LeGree. It is Weaver, Scott LeGree, and Boyman up front as Notre Dame opens on defense with 5 defensive backs. Harrison, Denman, Williams, Jefferson, Walton, Israel, and Driver. 5 DBs to open for the Irish defense. 2nd and 10, no gain on the first run by McKay. Irish showing blitz. Here's the option. Thiessen with a pitch. And again, Notre Dame's ready for it as the pitch went to Brown and got a couple of yards with Boyman and Jefferson combining on the stop of Puerto Rico Brown.
You know, Mike Thiessen really had a very, very productive year. We talk about him as a passer, over 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns, only thrown 3 interceptions, a lot of big plays in the passing game to Ryan Fleming, number 5 in particular. But boy, he is a tough option quarterback. You know, all option quarterbacks have to be tough, but you see how his hands are so beaten up from taking so many shots.
3rd and long, and Thiessen's first pass is incomplete, and he had a man wide open. Puerto Rico Brown was open in the flat, but the pass too wide, and Air Force will punt.
Yeah, there's a look at Mike Thiessen's hand. Look at some of these little bruises he's got here, and that is why it is often hard for option quarterbacks to have real finesse in the passing game. It's unusual to see a guy who's getting hit that much have good touch, but Mike Thiessen does.
So on 4th down, Dallas Thompson, the hero of 96, will kick to the ultra-dangerous Joey Getherall, the returner for Notre Dame, one of the best in the nation. Nearly blocked.
David Gibbons again.
As the ball bounds with to the Notre Dame sideline there, out of bounds, around the 15-yard line. See, they'll mark it at about the 18. 44-yard punt, counting the Air Force roll. So freshman quarterback Matt Movecchio with some final words as he comes onto the field for the first time. Black, Mahan, Thane, Gandy, and Vollers up front. Mahan starting for the injured Jim Jones. Lavecchio with Julius Jones, Murray, Getherall, Givens, and Holloway. Jones in the tailback spot behind Lavecchio. Actually a two tight end formation now with Holloway and O'Leary in there. Jones spinning, but only to the 20-yard line. Gain of a couple before the stop is made by Meinrod from the strong safety spot. Allen Hicks and Pendry are up front for the Falcons. And there is a look at a beat-up Air Force defense. Their leading tackler, Corey Nelson, has a shoulder injury. One of their mainstays. They hope he can play today, but does not start. Overstreet, a freshman, gets the start in that safety spot. High formation, second down. Again, it's Jones. This time, Jones breaks free. Trying to use a Givens block, then he fumbles the ball. And let's see, Notre Dame has not lost a fumble all season until now.
Absolutely. They were first in Division 1A. Not having lost a fumble all season long, only 4 turnovers on interceptions all year long. And again, a hustling defense. That I think that was Matt Palmer, number 52, made the first stop.
And then Meinrod will recover the fumble.
Crawley.
It was Crawley.
One of the corners.
Wes Crawley.
And this didn't really come as a result of the hit. It looked like Julius Jones just kind of lost track, but as he was going down, an awkward tackle and kind of thrust his right arm out where the ball was in. Remember, he hurt his right thumb a couple of weeks ago, and that may have caused some of the problem.
So the first lost fumble of the season by Notre Dame gives Air Force a chance. Here's the option, and a keep by Thiessen. Only a couple of tough yards. Anthony Denman made the stop.
We talked about turnover ratio. This was coming into today, +7. That was really one of the big reasons the Irish are 5-2. Really have protected the ball well. A year ago, they had 30 different turnovers. This is their last time they fumbled the ball, November of last year. It was their last game of the season against Stanford. And they lost 40-37. Last time they fumbled the ball until just this game.
Thiessen retreats to pass, now under pressure, scrambles but can't get away. Sacked at the 45 by Anthony Denman.
Anthony Denman has had a sensational year on defense for the Irish. He leads the team in tackles for losses, and in sacks as well. 6 sacks of the year for Anthony Denman. A guy who also kind of brings an attitude to this team. He and Brock Williams are kind of very emotional, fiery type of guys. Really kind of sets the emotional tone for the entire defense. So another good play by Anthony Denman.
So Air Force now facing a 3rd and 19 after the sack. Delario Brown along with McKay. McKay is the tailback. Beard the fullback. Thiessen. Screen pass. Short and incomplete, intended for McKay.
Well, that screen was so set up for Scotty McKay. And it happened last week. They had that same play. They've thrown 4 screen passes this year. 2 of them they've completed for real big plays. Last week, it was underthrown to McKay, similar to that, and he would have scored a touchdown. And that had big play written all over it.
So Thompson, whose first punt covered 44 yards, will punt toward Getherall as Air Force is unable to take advantage of the Notre Dame turnover. Trying to pooch punt it and see if they can down it deep, and they do. It takes a sideways bounce out of bounds at about the 14-yard line, where Notre Dame will take over after a 29-yard punt, scoreless first quarter. Beautiful fall scenes on the campus of the University of Notre Dame. We are in the first quarter, Notre Dame and Air Force, and it's 0-0. Air Force unable to take advantage of a Notre Dame fumble, their first of the season. And after punting, the Irish take over at their own 14-yard line. Todd Davey with his freshman quarterback, Matt Lavecchio, under center. I formation with Fisher and Murray. Here's Lavecchio's first pass. Diving attempt made by Getherall, but it's incomplete. It'll be 2nd and 10.
There are 3 reasons, at least, why Notre Dame has been such an improved team this year. The play of their freshman quarterback, Matt Lavecchio, has been very, very solid. They've been absolutely superb on special teams. Much more aggressive on defense, this team. And really only 5 turnovers. Just saw the first fumble. Only 5 turnovers all year. So it's been special teams. It's been aggressive defense. The offense really has to play a lot better. And they've got to get a lot more consistency out of the running game. Too many runs with just kind of a 1-yard gain or no gain.
Here's a pitch to Tony Fisher. And Fisher, who is the number 3 rusher for the Irish, gets a couple of tough yards before Pendry from a defensive end spot makes the tackle for Air Force.
And the Irish feel like they can get a little bit of movement up here and get on the corner of this Air Force defense. And what they want to do is spring Tony Fisher in a little bit of a seam here. But again, this Air Force defense, although somewhat smallish, they get off blocks. You know, those kind of guys you can block once, but they don't stay blocked. And you'll see guys recover very, very quickly from on this Air Force defense.
3rd and 6 for the Irish.
This is a blitz down for Air Force.
Fisher's in the slot, bottom of the screen, giving them 4 wides. Lovecchio's pass is complete to Fisher at the 25. Just enough for the first down by a yard, it appears, as Sam Meinrod makes the stop for Air Force.
I'll tell you, Tony Fisher last week against West Virginia had a big, big game. They ran for a touchdown down to tough yards down by the goal line. But over his career at Notre Dame, he's been a sensational receiver. That was just kind of a fingertip catch, then bowled over the last 2 yards. Here he's wide open. What I like about Tony Fisher, he started every game last year. It doesn't start now, but you don't hear any complaints about him. When he gets his chance, he just produces.
Gibbons in motion as Lovecchio on first down hands to Fisher. And Fisher dances his way for a short gain. Tackled by Travis Logston of the Falcons.
But that's the kind of play time I'm talking about. Notre Dame, really has made some real strides with Matt Lovecchio the last few weeks, but they just haven't had consistency in that running game. They'll have an 80-yard run, then they'll have a bunch of 2-yard runs and 1-yard runs.
Murray's in at fullback, Fisher at tailback in the I formation. Lovecchio, play action fake. Pumps once, now scrambling. And he throws it away. Lovecchio scrambling to avoid the Air Force rush, has to throw it away, being chased by Kevin Runyon. And it'll bring up a 4th down for the Irish. Excuse me, 3rd down, 3rd and long.
But that is, we talked to Matt Lovecchio yesterday. He said, hey, I'm learning from my mistakes. A couple of weeks ago, he forced a few balls against Navy. That's a smart play. Throw the ball away. Don't take the sack. Don't risk the interception. Still have a chance to pick up the first down on 3rd and 8.
Told us his biggest improvement was when he makes those mistakes, not dwelling on them, just play the next play.
Shake them off.
He's in the shotgun on 3rd and long.
Should be a blitz in here. Picked up.
Lovecchio bought a little time and found Gibbons for the first down.
I tell you, great pickup block by Tony Fisher. Strong safety blitz by Sam Meinrod. The defensive coordinator, Richard Bell of Air Force, says we have to take some chances. He's going to come. Here's the blitzer, but watch him get picked up by number 12, Tony Fisher. One of those subtle things that coaches notice. But if Fisher doesn't pick up that blitz right there, quarterback sacked.
So Notre Dame converts on 3rd down. They're 2 for 2 on 3rd down conversions here in the first quarter. Scoreless, 9 minutes left in the opening period. Gibbons in motion. The handoff to Fisher. Tries the center of the Air Force line and gets nothing. Stopped in his tracks by Kyle Allen.
Kyle Allen, number 95 for Air Force. Typical of a lot of kids at Air Force, kind of a self-made player coming off the field now. A lot of these guys aren't highly recruited. They have about a handful of guys that are recruited by multiple Division I schools, but most of them aren't highly recruited, but come to Air Force incredibly passionate about playing football and make themselves good players, just like Kyle Allen is.
Substitute for Notre Dame, J.W. Jordan is in at center, replacing Jeff Fade. Lovecchio, the play action fake, rolling, plants his feet and throws incomplete, out of bounds. Gibbons.
David Gibbons has had a interesting year for the Irish.
What hasn't he done?
Yeah, he's done, really everything. 19 carries, 16 catches. He's blocked a punt, almost blocked one earlier here, clearly out of bounds. Threw a pass last week, so David Gibbons, they were expecting him to have a big, productive year this year, and indeed he has.
Well, it's 3rd down again for Notre Dame, and Lovecchio is 2 for 2 on 3rd downs, 0 for 3 the rest of the time.
And again, if he reads a blitz, he's supposed to audible to a double post or a quick screen. Oops.
High snap, he pulls it down. And on the run, whips it downfield, again incomplete.
A good pass rush thus far by Air Force. That time I think it was Zach Johnson, number 92, rushing him. Yeah, the guy wasn't supposed to play much because of a bad ankle, but they had a good pass rush in this first quarter. There he is. Watch how he hustles. This number 92, Zach Johnson, battling a very, very sore ankle.
Johnson, a junior from Junction City, Oregon. And on fourth down,
the Air Force blocks a lot of kicks. They blocked 6 this year.
Joey Hillbold to punt for Notre Dame to Scotty McKay. And I guess delay of game. I don't know why they were waiting.
You know, they must have, I think that perhaps they're so concerned about the punt block. They wanted it.
Dead ball. Delay of game. On the offense, 5 yards, remains fourth down.
You don't really see it at this part of the field going on. So here's some of the block kicks that Air Force has had. 5 block kicks this year by 5 different players. They've been unbelievable under Fisher DeBerry's era. 64 blocked kicks since 1990. Here they come.
And the Hillbold gets it away. McKay says clear out. Takes a lateral bounce out of bounds. And Air Force will take over when we return to Notre Dame Stadium. The Falcons have fought the Irish to a standstill so far. A few pumpkin heads on hand here at Notre Dame Stadium. Might see anything this weekend.
Have you gotten your Halloween costume picked out yet?
Not yet. I'm going to have to work on that.
Yeah, you will. Something horsey, I assume. Well, Fisher DeBerry, we mentioned a remarkable record at Air Force. 17. This is his 17th year as the head coach. Was an assistant there for 4 years before that. His wife finally got him to move off campus this year after 20 years on campus, build a house off campus.
First down for Air Force. 7:55 left. First quarter was scoreless. Air Force starting at its own 39-yard line. Quick pass, Thiessen dropped.
Had it set up. Little quick screen to Brown.
Valerio Brown had it right in his hands and simply dropped it.
Multiple double slot, a variation of the old wishbone or triple option. You'll see some true triple option out of Air Force today. They'll have other plays where the quarterback kind of keeps it. It's called a midline option where he fakes the fullback, just kind of ducks in. They had a lot of success with their midline option in 1996 when they beat Notre Dame here. And then they throw the ball well.
Thiessen, though, is 0 for 3 to start this game. Blitz comes from Notre Dame. And the option pitch to McKay. Turns the corner and gets about 2 yards short of the first down. Scotty McKay, who is the 4th leading rusher for the Falcons, but averages over 5 yards a carry. Stopped by the free safety, Tony Driver.
Yeah, and this is the design of the offense, is to try to get these guys. There's the first option, the fullback. Second is the quarterback. Third option is the pitch. But one-on-one situations. Glenn Earl, number 19, did a good job of fighting off a block just to get down. Chuck Peterson, the offensive coordinator, right there, former player at Air Force.
3rd and 2. Thiessen stumbling, finds room for the first down. The initial Air Force first down. Rocky Boyman caught up with Thiessen, who set sail on the option and kept it, and has the Air Force first down.
Back-to-back options. The prior one was a triple option. This is the midline option. The fullback goes a little bit tighter, and then the quarterback just ducks up into the first hole he finds. Again, you have to be a tough guy to play quarterback in this option attack. You're going to take a lot of hits, and it's really tough, very tough, to have touch throwing the ball.
Fleming and Amazega, double wide receivers, and Amazega on the reverse, trying to use his blockers and should have gone outside.
Absolutely. He cuts outside. He maybe goes for 50, 60 yards. It was wide open to the outside. Amazega decides to cut inside and runs to darkness. Runs right to the, you're supposed to run to daylight, Ricky. But this thing was set up beautifully. Remember at the very beginning we said, hey, they have to have a couple of trick plays, a reverse, and maybe a halfback pass. This thing is set up. There's a big old lane outside.
And finally, Glenn Earl fighting off a block makes the tackle. Earl on the field for the injured Ron Israel at strong safety. Made a big play. 2nd and 6. Thiessen's pass again incomplete. Shane Walton defending Brian Labasco. And Thiessen has yet to find his rhythm with the passing game.
Well, again, I think what Notre Dame is doing, bump and run, man for man. This is Walton on Labasco. And oftentimes in college football, you see defensive backs with a big cushion. Notre Dame likes to crowd the wide receivers. They play a lot of man for man, and they give the defensive coordinator, Greg Madison, gives the corners their own prerogative. If you want to go bump and run, fine. If you want to lay off, fine.
3rd and 6, I formation, 2 wide receivers to the bottom of the screen. Thiessen rolls that way and again is wide of his target, Fleming. Thiessen not having a good start. He has been wide or high on many of his passes and has yet to complete one. He's 0 for 5.
Yeah, and he's had some guys open too, Tom. So Air Force has really missed some opportunities with great field position.
Getherall awaits the Thompson punt.
Boy, Notre Dame has been sensational this year in the return game. And Getherall returning 2 punts for touchdowns, and they've really been good.
Thompson's punt. Getherall says get away from it. Bounces right out of bounds in the neighborhood of the 15-yard line. They'll mark it at about the 16, where the Irish will take over when we return to Notre Dame Stadium. 26-yard punt.
Back at Notre Dame, no score in the first quarter. I'm Jim Gray. I'm now joined by a very familiar face to Notre Dame fans. In fact, he is the single-season passing yardage leader. Broke Joe Theismann's record of 30 years ago. Good to see Jarius Jackson, who's now with the Denver Broncos. How much do you miss this atmosphere? It's your first time back.
I miss it a whole lot. I hope I don't be in tears before the day is over with, but it just feels great to be back supporting the Irish and definitely seeing the fans that have supported me for the last 5 years.
Now, how much have you talked to Coach and to Arnaz and to Matt and so forth while you're with the Broncos, and how much contact have you stayed with the team?
Well, I've tried to stay in touch with Arnaz, pretty much every Wednesday or Thursday night before, they get ready to leave and go to the hotel for the games, and tell him just keep his head up and just play well. But, me and the coaches pretty much talk every week.
Well, great to see you, Jarius. Good luck with the Broncos behind Greasy and Ferret.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
All right, back upstairs to you, Tom.
All right, Jim, as Julius Jones breaks one for 11 yards and a first down. C.J. Zanotti on the hit for Air Force. The Falcons have had the better field position here in the first quarter, but nothing to show for it. Nothing game with 5:40 left in the first period. Oklahoma scoring 31 straight points against Nebraska.
When I saw the score, it was 14-0 Nebraska.
Short gain for Jones that time.
Got stoned, and number 52, Matt Palmer, made the stop. This is a guy that had 18 tackles a week ago. He's played well all year. That was kind of a direct hit and shot on Julius Jones. But what Matt Palmer's particularly good at is kind of running plays down. Got very good foot speed.
The senior from Boulder, Colorado, second leading tackler for the Falcons, was the leading tackler a year ago. Wants to be a coach when his Air Force commitment is over.
The linebackers always make good coaches. You notice that?
Murray resets as Lavecchio fakes and is trapped and sacked. He went on the naked bootleg, and Michael Gallagher was right there waiting for him. Gallagher stops him for a big loss on the play.
Yeah, remember, Michael Gallagher is filling in for Corey Nelson, who's ordinarily their big sack guy. Just right off the corner, and again, a disciplined play, which you kind of expect from these smart Air Force guys. The bootleg away is supposed to, make the outside linebacker kind of drop inside. He didn't, stayed right there at home and makes the sack. Filling in for Corey Nelson, who has 6 sacks. So that position now has had 7 for the year.
Gallagher, senior from Albuquerque, was the deep snapper the last couple of years primarily. From the shotgun, Lavecchio steps up in the pocket. Got away from 2 rushers. Now turns the corner, and Lavecchio still on his feet out of bounds at the 45-yard line. Notre Dame first down. Jeff Overstreet chased him out, but not until he gained 23 yards when initially it looked like he was in danger of being sacked.
Big play, biggest of the game thus far for the Irish. And Kevin Rogers, the offensive coordinator, says, we want our quarterbacks to be able to make impromptu plays. That's why they switched to Matt Lavecchio from Gary Godsey a few weeks ago. And Kevin Rogers, the offensive coordinator, says, we really need, 20, maybe 25% of our rushing yards. There's Kevin right there. To come from the quarterback position, many of those on impromptu plays.
Lavecchio breaking a tackle to get that Run underway. First down Irish at their own 45. Jones finds a seam, takes it into Air Force territory down to the 48, where he's tackled by Zanotti.
That was a pretty powerful run there by Julius Jones, as he hit Zanotti, the linebacker, and just knocked him back another 2 yards.
5 carries for Julius Jones now, 35 yards he has gained. With just over 3.5 minutes left in the first quarter, 0-0. Bob Davies' Notre Dame team 5-2, and the Irish have outrushed the Air Force option thus far, thanks to that 23-yarder by Lovecchio. Dangerous pass. Getherall dropped it. Crawley was defending for Air Force and had a chance had he looked up to break on the football.
It looked like it may have been tipped. I don't know. There's a guy rushing in on Lovecchio. Had to throw the ball a little bit high. Here comes the blitz who gets his hands up. Yeah, that was a strong safety mind rod.
A little ironic with Air Force in here. You think of Air Force as a ground team, and we said that they were much better in the passing lanes, but neither team has been able to pass so far. Lovecchio is only 2 for 7, and Thiessen is blanked so far.
Good pass rush thus far by Air Force. There's a hold.
Jones. Hold it, close in a hurry. He's close to the first down, maybe just short. Depends on the spot of the football. Matt Palmer made the tackle for Air Force.
Yeah, along with number 99, Justin Pendry, hustling defensive tackle.
It will be just short of the first down, so 4th and less than a yard, and Bob Davies is going to go for it. The ball just short of the Air Force 45, 4th down and less than a yard, and Air Force, having trouble getting the right personnel on the field, is forced to burn a timeout. So Air Force takes timeout. Lovecchio and the Irish facing 4th down when we come back to Notre Dame. Notre Dame and Air Force, 0-0 in the first quarter. 2:47 remaining in the period, and Notre Dame facing a 4th down. They have converted 3 of 7, 43% this season. Air Force has allowed 2 of 7 4th down conversions, 4th and less than a yard. Full house backfield. Murray, the fullback, flanked by Fisher and Jones. Tight formation up front. Lovecchio with the handoff. Fisher did just barely make it.
Great second effort. I think got the first down.
Logston comes up from the safety spot to help the defensive lineman.
Tony Fisher, it's small, subtle things that over the course of the season. Watch the second effort by Tony Fisher. Remember earlier we watched him on pass protection. He stopped there short of the first. But at the last minute, he just kind of lunges to get over the line and pick up the first. Saved his quarterback from the sack earlier in this first quarter. So those little things you don't notice are like 25-yard runs, but keep possession.
So the lunge enables the Irish to pick up the first down, and Julius Jones nearly broke it all the way. Finally caught from behind by Overstreet, but an 11-yard gain, another Notre Dame first down.
Anytime you're running the ball that well over the center, your center and 2 guards are doing a good job. Good double team there, Jim Jones and Fain. Jones does a great job of knocking his guy, playing with an injured toe. Fain and Mike Gandy, those 3 inside guys, have had a pretty productive first quarter here.
Now 7 carries, 48 yards for Julius Jones. 3 of his 7 carries have been for 10 yards or more. Here he is again. This time, Air Force ready for him. Stopped him maybe for a loss of 1. Kevin Runyon made the big play for Air Force. Coming to NBC in 2 weeks, points leader Bobby Labonte leads all the NASCAR heroes in one of the year's final races, the Pennzoil 400, as he looks to lock up his first Winston Cup Drivers' Championship. But the Intimidator, Dale Earnhardt, hot on his heels, continues his push for a record-breaking 8th Winston Cup title. Pennzoil 400, Sunday, November 12th, here on NBC. Lovecchio looking to the sideline, and Getherall makes a diving grab. Short of the first down, covered by Kurt Duffy.
Second time the Irish have run that route. First time, both times Getherall has been open. Big cushion here, as you can see. When you see the cornerback's feet turned in, you feel like you can break to the outside because he's got to readjust to get back outside. So their strategy is, hey, the corners, Kurt Duffy, his feet have got him fouled up to cover the out. So Joey Getherall breaks outside twice. That time he catches it.
2 tight end formation now, Holloway and O'Leary. Notre Dame has converted 3 of 5 on third down. Here's the option Notre Dame style. Keeper Lavecchio close to the first down. Looks like he might have it. Zach Johnson, as Air Force gets a taste of the option on defense.
Even with Matt Lavecchio, the Irish will run 10 option plays, maybe a game. They don't pitch the ball a lot. Most of it turns out to be quarterback keeps. He's got Julius Jones trailing. Again, smart play by Lavecchio. Knows exactly what he needed for the first down. Didn't need the pitch to pick up the first.
First down Irish in the closing seconds of the first quarter. Ball at the Air Force 23. Julius Jones nearly broken. He's been very close to breaking one for a touchdown. The Air Force finally stopped him at the 14-yard line. Crawley and Runyon.
Good offensive line surge again, that time by Notre Dame. Mike Gandy out in front of Julius Jones.
Julius with a 55-yard rushing first quarter as the final second ticks away. And that's the end of the first quarter at Notre Dame, with Air Force and Notre Dame scoreless. NBC Sports coverage of Notre Dame football will return after this message and a word from our NBC stations. Air Force and Notre Dame scoreless as we start the second quarter. But Notre Dame threatening with the ball just inside the Air Force 15-yard line.
It's hard to get under the plane seats when they travel.
Really?
Yeah.
You know that for a fact?
I've traveled with the team, yeah. Hard to get them underneath there.
But the red zone production has been for the Irish this season, and on the 14th play of the drive, they face a 2nd and 2. Lipinski and Murray, 2 fullbacks into the game. Or no, excuse me, it is Lipinski replacing Murray. He's in the fullback spot. Lead blocker for Jones, who is hit and dropped for a loss on the play. As the Air Force defense was ready for the give to Jones. Lipinski trying to lead block, couldn't get a block. And also on the play, Zanotti will get credit for the tackle with a lot of help.
And there's Richard Bell, the defensive coordinator, and he said to us this week, you know, we're going to have to roll the dice a little bit, take some chances. When we get them in third down situations, we're going to try to blitz and create some negative plays. Now, they've blitzed a couple times. They have not been able to create the negative plays yet.
Third down. Getherall in motion. Jones. Julius Jones close to the first down. Matt Palmer wrapped him up, but the body lean by Jones enough to pick up the first, it appears. They'll take a long look at it.
Yeah, there's C.J. Zanotti. You know, football is awfully important to a lot of these guys. You know, again, we talked about them not necessarily being highly recruited. This is a guy, Zanotti, that probably shouldn't be playing. I mean, he's got a really bad ankle sprain. Missed all of last year with a wrist injury. But one of their leaders on defense. He said, talked to him yesterday, said, absolutely, I'm playing today. A little bit short.
Short of the first down. It'll be another 4th down attempt if Bob Davie chooses to go for it or kick the field goal. Let's see.
We're going. You know, these situations, first thing defensively is you can't be offsides. I mean, again, a lot of times, you know, you see offenses try to go on either, you know, real hard count, try to draw you offsides. That's the first thing. Stay onside, and then penetration. That's the second thing defensively you need.
Notre Dame has already converted 1 4th down on this drive. Again, it's 4th and less than a yard. Full house backfield. Jones diving over the top.
Got it.
Looks like he has the first down. So the second 4th down conversion by the Irish keeps the drive going. Justin Pendry stopped Jones, but he got the first down on the dive over the top.
Yeah, when you get a chance to, you know, to dive, because everybody, the running backs, that's what they're thinking. It means you're getting good lead blocks by your fullback, which you did from Murray there, and you're inside. The interior offensive linemen are keeping guys down low. It gives that guy a chance to dive. Otherwise, if you get any penetration whatsoever, you get hit in the backfield. So good surge by the offensive line.
Julius Jones has carried 10 times on this drive, gaining 41 yards. He's in the tailback spot on first down. Jones again. Cuts up. Wrapped up at the 10-yard line by Pendry and Gallagher.
We talked about Justin Pendry, number 99, a few plays ago. One of those guys that is banged up and injured. You know, 8th game of every year. Everybody has to play with some injuries, and he's one of those guys that kind of plays through them. Really developed into a very good football player this year for the Falcons. But it is hurt, but still playing.
Hendricks from Bellingham, Washington, was the leading rebounder twice on a state championship basketball team. One of the teams went 30-0. 18th play of the drive for Notre Dame. It comes from the 10-yard line. Lovecchio, plenty of time. Now rolling, looking for the end zone. Lofts it. For the touchdown. Off Givens, who was defended well by Air Force, right into the hands of Javen Hunter.
You know, I think David Givens was just trying to knock that ball away from the defender. And it turns out he knocked it to his own guy. And we've all seen the tip. We've always seen the tip drill, a little unusual. Let's see if he's got a foot in. There's the tip. I think he's just trying to knock it away from defenders.
And a heads-up play by Javen Hunter.
Looks like his right foot was in. I think his right foot was in there. Well, yeah, really good play by David Givens too.
Nick set up for the extra point. And it's good. Well, the long Notre Dame drive winds up with a fluke ending.
Take a look at the feet. Got to have one foot in. I don't know if that right. Is that right foot?
I don't know.
Yeah, that right foot might have been on the line.
Might have been on the end line. Maybe should not have been a touchdown. Notre Dame gets a break in more ways than one. They lead.
Let's go back to the touchdown catch by Hunter. Watch 21 catch. Watch his left foot. Looks like he's got possession there, and there's his left foot in. So when he has the one foot in with possession of the ball, that's a touchdown. And there's the tip by Givens. Again, I think Givens is trying to knock the ball down. There's the catch, left foot in, and the touch.
So an 18-play Notre Dame drive puts them up 7-0, and now McNew set to kick off to Palmer and Amazada. It'll be taken by Amazaga. Dancing his way across the 25 to the 27. Ricky Amazaga with the kickoff return for Air Force. For more Fighting Irish sports information, log on to UND.com, where you'll find highlights and audio clips of Notre Dame football's coaches and players. Plus, each week, UND.com offers fans a chance to submit questions to a featured Notre Dame player. UND.com, the official athletic site of the University of Notre Dame. Well, there hasn't been much air in the Air Force attack so far, as Thiessen gives to the fullback, Nate Beard. And Beard plows straight ahead for a short gain.
You know, the Air Force Academy, when they get that fullback going, that's the first carry we've seen by a fullback. And then when Nate Beard, they alternate two fullbacks. When they get that fullback going and gaining 100 yards, they really are successful. And the last 9 times Air Force fullback position has gained 100 yards or more, they've won those games, and they're 31-6 since 1990. It's that first option and the triple option. They haven't run it much today.
Thiessen to pass. Good protection and on target to Fleming, who holds on despite the vicious hit from Williams. Brock Williams hit him hard, but big Ryan Fleming held on for 11 yards.
Ryan Fleming, you know, you have to be a tough guy to run routes over the middle, but he got absolutely drilled by Brock Williams. Again, one of those crossing routes, expecting, you know, man-for-man coverage. They thought Brock Williams would be out of that zone because he was on the other side of the field. Brock Williams stayed at home. It was a zone kind of coverage and just drilled Fleming.
Fleming to the sideline, a little shaken up, replaced by Labasco as Thiessen completes his first pass of the game. Quick pitch. Palmer gets about 8 yards before he's stopped by Driver and Earl. And Ryan Fleming, the Air Force leading receiver, third leading receiver in the Mountain West Conference, shaken up by that hit from Williams. did a great job to hold on to the football. He's 6'6", a big target, and despite that, he is pilot trained. He has passed the pilot qualification, just barely fits in the cockpit, he was telling us. It's a big cockpit to fit a 6'6" pilot.
Good down for
Palmer dodges 1-2 men and cuts up to midfield, close to the first down. Nice run by Leotis Palmer, the sophomore from Darien, Georgia.
Leotis Palmer is much like Qualerio Brown and Scotty McKay, those kind of guys, all 5'8", 5'9", and 175 to 80 pounds. You wouldn't give them the ball 25 or 30 times a game in an I formation, but this kind of offense, we run a little options, getting guys in the corner on the perimeter, one-on-one. Leotis Palmer and Qualerio Brown and Scotty McKay, all very, very good on the corner of the defense.
They're going to measure to see if Palmer picked up the first down.
Seen some good second effort runs by both teams thus far.
And just by inches, Palmer did pick up enough. Fisher DeBerry and the Air Force Falcons trailing by 7, but picking up a first down right at midfield.
You know, now Palmer's a converted quarterback, and one of the things you always think about of converted quarterbacks is that old halfback pass. It's a good area of the field where you might run it.
Air Force comes out in the I formation now, with Brown on the wing to the left. Notre Dame showing the blitz. And Thiessen had trouble with the snap, didn't get a good grip on it, and immediately is collapsed by Scott. B.J. Scott all over Mike Thiessen that time.
You know, if the Irish go on and have a really good season, I mean, B.J. Scott will not be one of the stars or considered one, but he is one of those unselfish guys, number 93, right in here. You know, that is one of those guys the coaches love because he does exactly what they ask of him. You know, 2 years ago he was a defensive lineman. Then they moved him to offense because they needed him to back up center. Only got 6 snaps at center last year. They asked him to move back on defense this year. Has started, had his most productive year, and one of those great team kind of players.
Great high school player, highly recruited, and not a star at Notre Dame, but he said he really appreciates the experience. Here's Fleming wide open inside the Notre Dame 30. Ryan Fleming from Thiessen, and Tony Driver saves the touchdown. As it is, it covered 24 yards and an Air Force first down.
Well, 3 or 4 plays ago, Ryan Fleming has to kind of limp off the field just because he got drilled. But the play action fake here, good protection, and again, a touch throw by Thiessen. Good move by Fleming, who kind of faked the corner route, broke over the middle, and the free safety has to respect the option so much. There's generally a lot of room down the middle of the defense.
Took Thiessen a while to find his rhythm. Here he gives to the fullback Beard on the option. Thiessen said just walking into the stadium, told us yesterday he got goosebumps. He said this is what you play football for, a situation, a scene like this. And perhaps to start the game, he was still feeling a little jittery because he didn't have his passing rhythm. And now with 2 straight completions to Fleming, perhaps he's found it.
Yeah, we had to remind him it was only Friday. No sense to get too nervous today.
Air Force team went to the Hall of Fame yesterday as well, and they all said it was one of the great experiences of their football careers. 8th play of the Air Force drive. Here's Beard.
Now they're getting that fullback going a little bit. 3 carries on this drive by the fullback. Again, when you get that fullback running in this triple option, it sets up everything else. Then more players have to collapse in the fullback, and then the quarterback fakes it to the fullback, and he's on the perimeter with an option to pitch or an option to keep it.
3 carries, 8 yards for the fullback on this drive, which now faces a 3rd and 4 from the Notre Dame 23. Thiessen will send Fleming wide to the right, top of the screen. Play clock down to 2, and they'll have to call a timeout.
That's their second they've used.
Fisher DeBerry says, all right. And they'll talk about this 3rd down play call. It's 7-0 Notre Dame, 2nd quarter.
In the 2nd quarter with Notre Dame up by a touchdown. This is the best drive by Air Force yet today. They've finally gotten that triple option going. You've seen a little bit of everything. The fake fullback, there's one option. Pitch the ball to Scotty McKay. Get a nice little run. Then you get your quarterback going. Mike Thiessen on one of those quarterback duck plays in their midline option. But what makes them unique is their ability to throw the ball well, even when your wide receiver take the shot. But, hey, Fleming bounced right back and caught another big play.
For over 20 yards.
Yeah.
But now Fisher DeBerry with a 3rd and 4 from the Irish 23-yard line. Already the drive has covered 50 yards in 8 plays.
And this is where they like that midline option where they fake to the fullback and quarterback keeps.
It's going to be a pass. Thiessen has a man open, and it's complete to Palmer for a touchdown. 23 yards as Thiessen finally finds his rhythm with 3 straight completions. The 3rd is to Leonis Palmer for the touchdown, his first touchdown of the season.
Boy, terrific timing, good play call by Chuck Peterson, the offensive coordinator. In that situation, most of this year they've run that quarterback duck or midline option play. They fake it, started with real good protection, and then Palmer made a real nice crossing route.
Dave Adams to attempt the extra point. He has this little ritual he goes through, crouching down as you see him there. And his extra point kick is good. So a long Notre Dame drive is answered by an Air Force drive down the field. And Fisher DeBerry and the Falcons have tied the game at 7. They went 73 yards in 9 plays, 4:45 off the clock.
Say, you know, this is Palmer right here on this wing. He's this wing guy right here who's going to run this crossing route, but really set up by the fake and then good pass protection. So you get the fake, you get the pass protection, and then there's the crossing route. Watch how open he is. Good, you know, let him out. Didn't have to slow down for the ball. Allowed him. The fact that he led him on that allowed him to catch it and get in the end zone. If he throws it behind him, he catches it and it's tackled. So well thrown ball by Mike Thiessen. Good call by Chuck Peterson, and good execution by Leotis Palmer.
The former quarterback romps into the end zone for the first time this season. Dallas Thompson now set to kick off for Air Force.
And this is, again, where Notre Dame has been awfully good in the return game.
Driver and Jones, the deep man, as Thompson with a bare right foot sends it on its way. This will be Julius Jones. Jones through a seam, breaks free, and finally stopped at the 37-yard line by the kicker, Dallas Thompson. Tony Driver, who is the blocker, who takes the most dangerous cover man, springs Julius Jones, and special teams have been one of the great strengths, as you noted earlier.
Well, they've been sensational. 4th in kickoff returns, 7th in punt returns, net punting 6th in the nation. They're the only team in Division 1A that ranks in 3 categories in the top 10. A terrific block, lead block by Tony Driver, but they've been doing this all year. And you know, you always look at the running back, Julius Jones, but set up by 3 or 4 different guys.
That was a 36-yard return. And the best starting position of the game for Notre Dame. Lavecchio from the gun, hands it to Fisher. And Fisher fights his way for a yard, stopped by Sam Meinrod. Go in depth on the Fighting Irish by logging on to msnbcsports.com. A special section, NBC's Notre Dame Central, features expert analysis by our own Pat Hayden. And this week, a special feature on Terrence Howard, who had the big touchdown gallop against West Virginia last week. Plus, video highlights, post-game audio interviews with Coach Bob Davie and key players. msnbcsports.com, official website of NBC Sports.
Haven't seen Terrence Howard yet, have we?
No, we haven't. From the shotgun, Lavecchio's pass is almost intercepted right through the hands of Corey Nelson. Nelson had it, but couldn't hold on.
Well, you know, Corey Nelson's got a bad shoulder, but Corey Nelson is really very good. He's number 42 in the right part of the screen. Had a chance, boy. And, you know, if he could have gathered himself, he had a clean lane to the end zone, too.
He was gone.
Corey Nelson, great pass rusher, great block kicker. 6 blocks, kicks in his career. 6 sacks this year for him, too.
Vecchio pitching him at a 40% clip on the season. He hits 58% of his passes. It's 3rd and 8 here.
What's going here, looks like.
Lavecchio trying to scramble free, is sacked. Back at the 32-yard line by Matt Palmer.
Yeah, remember we talked about Matt Palmer's quickness? Kind of a closing speed for a linebacker. He's number 52. He's down here, I think, actually in a stance. And again, a lot of big push actually came right there. Matt Palmer over number 78, Jordan Black. But Matt Palmer, really good with his feet, sideline to sideline. That time on an inside blitz, Richard Bell said, we've got to take some chances. We've got to blitz against Notre Dame. That time it pays off.
On 4th down, Joey Hillbold will punt for Notre Dame. Scotty McKay, as Hillbold booms it downfield. McKay all the way back to the 15-yard line. Makes a nice cut to get free and then is tripped up at the 25-yard line on a shoestring grab by Clifford Jefferson. 10-yard return of a 51-yard punt. 7-7 at Notre Dame.
Back at Notre Dame, tied at 7. I'm Jim Gray, joined on the sidelines by Regis Philbin, one of the big Notre Dame fans of all time. Regis, why is the Fighting Irish so important to you after all these years?
I never got over it. You know, I watched the band come on the field and my eyes all welled up with tears. I've never gotten over my 4 years here at Notre Dame.
Now, we'd like to play your own game with you a little bit. Things are a little different at our network. We'll play for this NBC hat instead of $1 million.
Jim Gray question. The Mike Wallace on the sidelines.
Not that tough. Here we go. Who holds the single-season passing record for the Irish? Joe Theismann, Joe Montana, Jarius Jackson, or Terry Hanratty?
Single-season passing record?
No lifelines.
Joe Theismann.
That was beaten last year by Jarius Jackson. Is that your final answer?
No, Jarius Jackson's my final answer.
You get the hat, Regis.
I'll take it.
Great to see you. Everybody's happy for your success.
Thanks very much. Good luck to NBC at Notre Dame.
And thanks for always promoting Notre Dame on your other shows. Back upstairs to you, Tom.
All right, Jim, as Mike Thiessen breaks one for 24 yards for Air Force. Now looking downfield, and it's flagged down, intercepted if it stands.
Well, I didn't
Picked off by Glenn Earl.
Yeah, the flag down. It looks like going to call pass interference. Didn't seem like there was a lot of bumping and shoving. But Glenn Earl, number 19.
Pass interference against Notre Dame. Qualario Brown was the intended receiver. Earl picked it off. Bob Davie does not like the call. Here we go, Pat.
Yeah, there's no interference there. Not bumped
Pass
yet.
interference.
No,
On a defense.
that is not pass interference.
Yards,
That's
first down.
That's a poor call. Wasn't even touched. But Glenn Earl makes a really nice play. And he's not obviously calling on 25. Tony Driver gets his head turned, makes a play for the ball. That's not pass interference. But Glenn Earl, number 19, is making more and more plays.
Thiessen agrees with the call.
Yep.
He applauds it. It gives Air Force a first down at the Irish 36. 5:56 remaining till halftime, and Air Force driving in a 7-7 game. Here's the option. Thiessen keeps and hit hard at the 34-yard line. Still got about 3 or 4 yards. Tony Driver.
Yeah, that's kind of
having such a great year for the Irish defense. And
you're right,
teams.
Tom. And you know, when he tackles you, you go down. It's kind of called running the alley. He just kind of mirrors the quarterback a little bit behind him, and when the quarterback finds that seam, there's your free safety. I mean, for years, free safeties playing this triple option offense have had to be good tacklers, and Tony Driver is indeed that.
Give Thiessen only 2 yards on that when he's carried 6 times for 21. Option and the pitch on the reverse.
He's open here.
McKay down the sideline. McKay lowers his head to the 10-yard line where he's hit by Shane Walton. 23-yard gain and another Air Force first down.
Remember earlier in the game they had this open. Went the wrong way. This time you're going to see Scotty McKay on this pitch go wide. Watch, everybody's going this way. Picks up a nice block there, and Shane Walton really saves the touchdown. But give Chuck Peterson, the offensive coordinator, some credit. He was successful with the call earlier in the game, even though the runner didn't make the right cut. But comes right back to it that time. Scotty McKay in a big play.
Amazenga top of the screen. Palmer in the slot. Hand off to the tail. Brown. And he's to the 5-yard line where he's hit by Harrison.
Late flag.
And the flag flying in late.
Mario Harrison on the tackle.
It's a dead ball personal foul against Notre Dame.
Dead ball foul, personal foul.
So second costly penalty by the Irish on this Air Force drive.
Well, it was 2 penalties called.
Dead ball, personal foul on the defense, half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
Gain of 7. Penalty is half the distance to the goal. It is first and goal just outside.
I think you're going to call it on Rocky Boyman. Now he gets chopped there, and I think he gets the retaliation. The referees never see the first one, right?
Well, in any event, it's 1st and goal, Air Force at the Notre Dame 2. Thiessen to the 1.
Midline option, quarterback duck. And he scored a lot of touchdowns running the football. He's thrown 9, but run for 8. Most of them on that play. Fake to the fullback, keep it, duck in behind your tackle.
Ball spotted inside the Notre Dame 1-yard line. Fisher DeBerry's Falcons with a beautiful drive, aided by a couple of Notre Dame penalties. Thiessen sneaks, flags are down.
And they may have moved early. Never really understood why guys on the outside have to move early on a quarterback sneak, but it looked like there's some early movement by Air Force.
Dead ball. False start. Offense, 5 yards. Remaining second down.
Well, remember in 1996, they had to kick the winning field goal twice, but you see this movement here early.
And so instead of the ball being inside the Notre Dame 1, they'll spot it back at the 5-yard line, where it'll be 2nd and goal. First penalty against Air Force.
Again, here's where Air Force 2 not only run that midline option, but where Ryan Fleming has been a big target.
Thiessen hands the ball to Brown. Notre Dame strings it out, and Brown cuts back to the line of scrimmage. Tony Driver again with a big defensive play. Lance Legree pursuing down the line.
Tony Driver, the free safety, has been a sure tackler. He returned 2 fumble recoveries for touchdowns against Navy a few weeks ago. 48 tackles on the year. He's got an interception.
And a timeout taken. B.J. Scott came off the field for Notre Dame, appeared to be in some distress, replaced by Wisney. And that's Clifford Jefferson, I believe. It is Jefferson over on the Air Force sideline. Jefferson starting today as one of 5 defensive backs for Notre Dame. He'll be replaced by Jason Beckstrom on this 3rd down coming up. Remember, Air Force had the ball inside the Notre Dame 1. Now they face a 3rd and goal again from the 5. As Jefferson being assisted over to the Notre Dame sideline all the way across the field. Steve and Barbara Thiessen are here from Modesto, California to see their son Mike, hoping he'll be able to engineer a go-ahead drive here by the Falcons.
Dad, the high school principal, coach. And they were really pumped up yesterday in the stadium, too. They were as nervous as Mike was. Again, a couple options here as we talked about this 3rd and 5 on the 5-yard line. And Steve knows all the options. Steve knows. But again, you got the big 6'6" receiver, Ryan Fleming, who you can throw some jump balls. He's lined up against Shane Walton, who's 5'11".
3rd and goal. Scott Becker is the only setback. Thiessen looking for time. Pass deflected and incomplete. Anthony Weaver deflecting Thiessen's pass, and it will be 4th down for Air Force.
Anthony Weaver having a really big, he's right down here, really big season for the Irish. They've got 20 sacks on the year, but it's not just the sacks. They only had 18 all of last year. It's plays like that. Tipping balls, playing, sideline to sideline. But one of the reasons the defense has improved is because of the improved play of Weaver.
And there's another false start as Adams was lined up to attempt a 22-yard field goal, which would give the Falcons the lead.
This kicker, Dave Adams.
Dead ball. False start. Offense, 5 yards. Remains 4th down.
Got a pretty unique routine, does Dave Adams.
27. Ironically, that's the distance of the field goal that Air Force kicked to beat Notre Dame in overtime here in 1996.
Dave Adams has a rather unique kicking style. You're going to see him crouch down a lot, put his hand up in the air to check the wind.
What's all that mean?
He's trying to join the Rockettes. I'm not sure what it means.
I think he said he didn't even realize he was doing it.
Yeah, I don't know how you don't realize you're doing this.
Until some BYU players pointed it out to him. And he's attempting a 27-yard field goal to give Air Force the lead. It's up, and it is good.
It works. Routine works for him.
So Dave Adams with a 27-yard field goal, and Air Force has the lead for the first time, 10-7 over Notre Dame. Air Force leads Notre Dame 10-7 with 3:06 left till halftime. The Falcons taking the lead on a 27-yard Dave Adams field goal. And he has that unusual pre-kick routine. He was warming up before the game, and we asked Dave what that was all about.
Something you do, and then you do it every time, and I don't even realize I'm doing it. You just do it. Kind of like someone who licks their lips a lot or something, you know? Just something you always do. I don't know. Couldn't tell you. I didn't know I did it until people like you pointed it out.
In not too kind of way either did they point it out.
Well, it works. It works for them. You know, 9 of 13 in the year now. Well, now they have to, Air Force has to kick off to Notre Dame. We've talked about how good Notre Dame has been in the return game this year, and they have just been spectacular. So still 3:06 remaining in this first half. Plenty of time for Notre Dame, particularly when their special teams generally gives them pretty good field position.
It will be Adams that will kick off, and touchdown returns.
Yeah, they got both on interceptions, kickoffs, 2 punt returns, 2 fumble returns.
Opportunistic Irish.
Yes.
So Jones and Driver are deep, and the object is for Driver never to field the ball unless it's inside the hash on his side. He instead will block. It's a squib kick, and it goes out of bounds, and so Notre Dame will take over at the 35.
Now that's an error. That was supposed to be a squib kick right down the middle.
So the Irish with good field position, trailing now by 3. Near the conclusion of today's game, we'll select a Chevrolet player of the game from each team. Chevrolet will make a contribution to each university's general scholarship fund. Air Force trying to duplicate the upset they pulled here in 1996. The Falcons come in a 2-touchdown underdog, but leading by a field goal.
You look at the heights and weights of the guys, the speeds, and Notre Dame's got all the great athletes and such. There's Jefferson going into the locker room, and you say, hey, there's no way Air Force can win this game. But they don't make mistakes. They play smart. They play hard. They never quit, and they play a lot of tight games with Notre Dame.
That's Gibbons resetting. Play action fake. Lavecchio buys a little time and downfield to Fisher, and then he dropped it.
Oh, that wheel route that last week against West Virginia, he caught that same pass. They call it a wheel route for a touchdown. Tony Fisher.
They had him matched up on the linebacker Ryan Finnan, which is what they wanted.
Absolutely. He caught 16 passes a year ago. It's really the same route, right out of the backfield. I think he felt the free safety coming over the top, Jeff Overstreet, and dropped a well-thrown ball by Lavecchio.
Freshman showing a little emotion that time. He doesn't normally react, but he thought he had 6. 2 tight ends here. Pitch to Jones. He's taken out of bounds for a loss on the play by Zanotti and Gallagher, the linebackers.
10-7 Air Force leads, and you look at all these academy games Notre Dame has played over the years. They play them tough. See what happened in 1996, Air Force winning 2017 in the overtime, and then in 98 another close one with Army. Last year with Navy. And for the academies, other than playing one another, this is their biggest game on the schedule.
And the team, the Notre Dame team, and the crowd pretty flat here this afternoon. Here they're facing a 3rd and 14 down, and there's barely any noise in the stadium. Getherall on the reverse, trying to turn the corner, spins away from one man and fights his way close to a first down. The elusive Joey Getherall.
He is unbelievable. A Lancer from Bishop Vermont High School, my old high school. I just want to let you know that time. He's a Lancer, a fighting Lancer. But I mean, he is so good. This is just, we call this a wide receiver jet play. Trying to get his quickness on the outside. Again, a hustling Justin Pendry.
And on 4th and 1, just short of the first down,
a bit of a surprise, this kind of field position. Although you're trailing by 3 points, Notre Dame's converted twice now in this same kind of situation. This time they decide to punt.
And the fans reacting as the punt team came out on 4th down and a yard. Hill punting toward McKay. Fair catch called for and taken by McKay at about the 13-yard line. So the Air Force defense holds. The Falcons get the ball back after a 43-yard punt and 1:54 showing on the clock till halftime. Coming to NBC next Sunday.
The SNL Presidential Bash is so big, only one word can describe it. Strategery. Coming to primetime next Sunday on NBC.
I got to see that one.
Will you be relieved when this election's over?
Yes. Strategery.
First down play. It's the option and the pitch to the trailer Brown. And he's nudged out of bounds by Jason Beckstrom after a pretty good gain on the play.
You know, Air Force, when they started getting their passing game going, you mentioned, that late first quarter, the offensive complexion of the game really changed. Mike Thiessen got the passing game going to his big wide receiver, Ryan Fleming. Then they began to run the fullback. Some had some success there. Now they're pitching the ball outside. So they've got all 4 of their options for Chuck Peterson, the offensive coordinator. All 4 of their options going right now.
Walario Brown picking up 7 yards on that play. And now Fleming and Amazega, 2 wide receivers. McKay in motion. Thiessen, quick pass. And it's complete for the first down to Fleming. And a late flag down as Fleming is tackled by Beckstrom at the 30.
Well, he gets great body position, doesn't he, Fleming?
He said it's a lot like rebounding.
Yeah.
You get in the right position to get a rebound, and same thing with catching a pass. Interference against Notre Dame.
Ryan Fleming.
Pass interference on the defense. Penalty is declined. First down.
So the Air Force with a first down at the 30-yard line. Mike Thiessen has found his passing rhythm after a shaky start. Thiessen, by the way, an All-American baseball player at Air Force who's led the Mountain West Conference twice in batting. Here's a McKay handoff on the delay on the draw play, and McKay about 3 yards. Lance Legree the tackle. Thiessen, an excellent baseball player. Twice, as we said, led the league in hitting over 400 both times. He's a center fielder, started his career as a shortstop, and perhaps has a future in baseball.
Well, hitting 33 straight games.
A record. Yeah. Pitch to Brown. Brown turns the corner, rips off about 9 yards. Sapp gets him out of bounds.
Well, you sense and see a growing confidence in this Air Force team.
Absolutely.
Again, these guys are smart. There's no quitting them. They're playing hard every down.
And Notre Dame flat, wouldn't you agree?
Certainly the crowd is. Defense has played okay, but I think the offense still struggling some.
It'll be third down and about a yard for Air Force with the clock showing 1:09 second quarter.
We only have 1 timeout remaining.
Palmer
got it.
Got the first down across the 40-yard line, which will stop the clock. On the tackle, Scott for Notre Dame.
Yeah, Thiessen has to get his team in and out of the huddle. I mean, they've got good field position. So a minute 4, I'm surprised actually they're even in the huddle, because once they set the yard markers, they start the clock again.
Clock rolls, now shows a minute, now 59:58. Thiessen. What's downfield for Fleming? There's the jump ball, and that time Walton got in there to knock it away from Ryan Fleming.
Yeah, smart play, though, by Thiessen. He felt the double coverage on his wide receiver, but said, hey, I've got a height advantage. Give a chance, throw it short. Sometimes the underthrown deep ball is the best ball you can throw. But really good recovery there by Shane Walton to knock it away.
Walton 5'11" to Fleming 6'6", but able to jump up and bat it away. Second and 10 with 49 seconds.
Still haven't seen we've seen a couple reverses, no halfback passes yet.
Screen pass.
Oh, was that read?
Perfectly read by Anthony Denman. Denman nearly got there in time to intercept the ball on a screen pass.
I thought he was the receiver.
Palmer caught it, and Denman immediately dropped him. Timeout Notre Dame with 35 seconds and a 3rd and 15 for Air Force.
Yeah, they want to force one more punt. of Air Force. Notre Dame has blocked 3 punts this year. Well, Dave Adams warming up, but if he kicks a field goal from here, he'll be All-American.
He just wants to practice that routine again. And don't forget, coming up at halftime, the Sun America halftime report. And the Storm will have scores and highlights, including that Nebraska-Oklahoma game and an XFL draft update. That's all on the Sun America halftime report with Hannah in New York.
There's reports I'm going to get drafted by the LA Extreme in the 55th round.
55?
Yeah,
huh?
55 rounds.
I didn't think you'd go that high.
Thank you. The XFL, the LA Extreme, the general manager, Johnny McKay, says you have to be over 6 feet, too, to play in this league, Pat.
On 3rd and long, Air Force has converted only 1. This is a 3rd and extra long, 3rd and 15.
And what you see is a real quick timeout if Notre Dame stops them quickly. And try to force that last punt, perhaps go for the block. I wouldn't expect to see Air Force taking any chances. They'd love to go into halftime with a lead.
Spread formation this time for the Falcons. Beeson straight drop back and sacked.
Yeah, that was going to be a quarterback draw.
Before he ever had a chance to set up the draw.
Yeah.
Harrison was there in a hurry. Anthony Weaver was there.
Yeah, this was going to be a quarterback draw all the way. He's going to step back and then run right up through here. Notario Harrison, number 55. Kind of disrupted from the very start. Now, Notre Dame's a bit of a dilemma. They're really good, on punt block, but they're great on returns.
Right.
So, and then they really go hand in hand. If you put a lot of pressure on the punter, the recover guys have to stay in and protect, and that leads to a lot of good returns. We mentioned twice this year Joey Getherall has gone the distance. Rarely does he fair catch.
And the Irish, as you see, with 1 timeout left and 30 seconds remaining till intermission. Fisher DeBerry and the Falcons hoping to go in with the lead. They're up 10-7 on Notre Dame.
Earlier in this game, David Givens, the guy who does a little bit of everything for the Irish, nearly blocked a punt. His number 6 kind of comes up through the middle a lot.
Dallas Thompson is the Air Force punter. And Joey Getherall, the jockey, standing back at the 30. As you said, 2 touchdowns on punt returns, including at West Virginia last week. Irish look like they're going to come after it. Good protection, though, and Thompson another booming punt. Getherall back at the 21-yard line. Surrounded by white jerseys, and finally with a flag down, and Getherall had no room to operate that time. Good coverage by Air Force. 46-yard Thompson punt, and well covered by the Falcons.
You mentioned that Dallas Thompson was the guy who kicked that winning field goal in 1996.
Penalty against the Irish.
Might have been a takedown by Chris.
Lock in the back. On the return team, 10 yards from the end of the kick, first down.
Chris Earl, one of their great special teams players for the Irish, have been called for that block in the back.
So the ball now back to the 12-yard line.
There he is, 23. Yep. Yeah, Chris Earl gets called there, but Chris Earl's had a big year for the Irish on special teams.
So Lovecchio comes onto the field with a first down at his own 12. Do you just pack it in here and regroup?
No, I wouldn't take a chance here, this area of the field.
Right.
But again, lethargic offensively. They really haven't done much. They had 1 good drive.
1 very long 18-play drive. And Lovecchio takes a knee to end the first half. And a surprising first half as Air Force will go to the locker room in front. It's Air Force leading Notre Dame 10-7 at halftime. Notre Dame had a long drive to take a 7-0 lead. They went 18 plays in that drive. Then Air Force answered, and a 27-yard Adams field goal gives them the lead. And Fisher DeBerry, the Air Force coach, with Jim Gray.
All right, thank you very much, Tom Fisher. Good first half. Are you surprised that you've been able to move the ball as well as you have against Notre Dame?
No, not really, Jim. We hadn't moved it enough to get it in the end zone. We've boarded a couple of scores down there. We had a reverse that was wide open. We run into a guy. We go down there and jump off sides on the 1 yard line. When we score a touchdown, we ought to have more points on the board than we got right now.
But you got to be happy with what you see. Certainly, maybe nobody other than your team would expect you to be in this position today.
Well, I disagree with you there. Our football team expected to be in this position, and we expect to have more points at the end of the game. I can assure you that.
All right, Fisher, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good luck in the second half. Upstairs to you, Tom.
All right, Fisher to Berry once more, and his Falcons do have the halftime lead, 10-7. Now let's send you to Hannah Storm and the Sun America halftime studio. Halftime at Notre Dame Stadium, and Air Force excited about a 10-7 lead over the Irish as we get ready to start the second half. We heard from Fisher to Berry just before halftime, Pat, and he wanted more. Yeah. And I think that he is not surprised to be in this position. And in fact, Air Force outplayed Notre Dame in the first half.
They absolutely expected to win, and they expect to win the second half. They played them close, they played them tight. You know, it means so much to these guys, this football game. But interesting first half, couple of interesting touchdowns. The first one by Notre Dame, a little volleyball. It looked like volleyball rather than football. Givens over to Hunter, gets that 1 foot in the end zone. He had possession, got his left foot in before he went out. Did possess the ball, touched the left foot down. But then a terrific, really crossing route to Palmer. Again, well thrown away from the defender, allowed him to dance to the end zone. That tied the ball game, and then the Air Force came back with a field goal a little bit later on.
Yeah, Air Force had the ball actually inside the 1 yard line of Notre Dame before a penalty put them back, and they had to kick the field goal. Otherwise, they might be further ahead. And Notre Dame just appears to be flat in that first half.
Well, if you look at the statistics, too, I think Air Force is really ahead in all of the categories. They've thrown for more yards. They've run for more yards. They've not turned the ball over. They're playing harder. I mean, and all those things. They only had 2 penalties the first half, did Air Force. So when you combine all those things, you know, they're leading. They should be.
So Air Force outplaying Notre Dame in that first half and winning every statistical category, as you see. Let's go down to Jim Gray to see what Bob Davie thinks of these.
All right, thank you, Tom. Coach, what did you tell your team at halftime? Are you concerned with the way they played in the first half?
Yeah, we need to play better. Offensively, we turned the ball over. The first series of the game, Julius Jones. We dropped the wheel pass to Tony Fisher that might have been a touchdown. Defensively, I thought we played okay. I mean, they ran some reverses on us. We had a couple pass interferences. The bottom line, we got to go play better. We're in a dogfight right now against a good football team. That's what we expected, but there's a lot of football left, Jim.
Coach, thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, Tom, upstairs to you.
All right, Jim. Air Force, after only 13 yards, total yards in the first quarter, came up with 147 in the second. And the opposite, as you might expect for Notre Dame, 107 yards first quarter, only 17 in the second quarter.
Yeah, and Air Force really had it going in all phases of the option. And, you know, you talk so much about their offense, but Air Force's defense has done a pretty good job too, putting pressure on Matt Lavecchio, you know, fighting off blocks, making plays. But, you know, once again, at the start the second half, Air Force kicks off. We've talked about how good Notre Dame has been in the return game. And so, you know, Notre Dame from the very beginning of a half puts pressure on you when they receive a kickoff right away. Talked about how good they are on kickoff returns, and you see where Julius Jones and Tony Driver, the 2 men that are back to accept this kickoff, rank in Notre Dame kickoff return history. Tim Brown has a sensational career here. But as you mentioned, you know, really Tony Driver is there to block for Julius Jones.
There's Driver, 25, as Dallas Thompson will kick it off for Air Force to start the second half. This will be Julius Jones, Driver to block. Jones crosses the 20, breaks to the outside. Thompson, the kicker, slows him down, and then he's taken down finally at the 46-yard line by Tony Metters. 41-yard return, and it worked just the way they planned it.
Yeah, and you know, here's Driver right here, number 25, the lead guy right there. Watch him, he's just going to drill his guy. Good blocks there. He just knocks the defender down.
If Thompson doesn't slow him down here, he's gone.
And over again, Notre Dame doing it. It is not just Julius Jones. It's all the guys that set him up on that kickoff return. They've got some great lead blockers, including, well, we just saw Tony Driver.
Jones stays in at tailback. Lavecchio only 4 of 11 in the first half. Givens, the motion man, resets on a wing. And the handoff to Julius Julius Jones fights his way across midfield into Air Force territory to the 49-yard line, where he's stopped by Matt Palmer.
First half possessions really wasn't, the one TD drive. The other numbers are pretty ugly. But, that Notre Dame needs some more of those 4-yard runs, Tom. It just seems either they have that real long run in the rushing game or a lot of 1- and 2-yard games. They need a drive with 4 yards and 5 yards here, 6 yards there.
And a couple of people coming out of the stands running across the field just as Lovecchio was about to accept the snap. And they'll go back into the huddle with the play clock reset.
Just kind of sense that Kevin Rogers, the offensive coordinator, Bob Davie, the head coach, would love to see a little grinded out kind of drive. 4 yards here, 6 yards there.
Well, it's Halloween weekend, and the Irish trying to shake the Goblins, get their offense going. Lovecchio again hands to Jones. Julius Jones picking his way forward almost to the 40-yard line. Notre Dame first down. Wes Glisson made the saving tackle for the Air Force.
It's been a pretty good day for Julius Jones. 55 yards rushing in the first quarter on runs like that. But it's been the return game where it has been sensational all year long. This is a return earlier to open the second half. Had another big return.
And Julius now has carried 16 times for 69 yards. Gets a rest on the sideline, replaced by Fisher.
Has a hip pointer, or had a hip pointer coming into the ballgame.
Fisher. It appeared to be the same play almost as Jones had run.
Yeah, I think it is, Tom. And again, Kevin Rogers, the offensive coordinator, good calling, because I think if you have some success running the play, you just kind of keep hammering it at people until they slow you down or stop you. And you would think that Notre Dame had, because you think a physical mismatch, kind of pounded at Air Force a little bit and get some more gains. But the Air Force defense, as we said, pretty quick, slide off blocks very quickly, and making a lot of plays.
2nd and 5. Here we go again on the handoff to Fisher, who breaks it to the outside and is ridden out of bounds by Glisson after picking up another Notre Dame first down.
Well, clearly that was their thought at halftime. Bob Davie went in and said, hey guys, we're going to get the second half kickoff. Let's get ourselves a nice return again as we ordinarily do. But then we're going to take some shots running the ball right at the Falcon defense. I think it's 5 straight runs on this drive.
All to the tailback. Jones and then Fisher. So the ball spotted at the 30-yard line of Air Force. Notre Dame with a first down. Driving off the opening kick of the second half. Once again, it's the tailback Fisher. Shorter gain this time. Meinrod up for the strong safety spot to make the initial hit for Air Force.
Sam Meinrod, a really good blitzer for Air Force. What makes a good blitzer? Just not a tough guy. I think, Tom, it's a guy that really has good timing and studies a lot of tape, knows when the cadence of an offensive team, has a pretty good feel of when this ball is going to be snapped, and can time his blitz according to the snap count. Meinrod does a pretty good job of that.
Meinrod's brother Adam played football at Navy. So Sam, one of the Air Force mainstays now. 2nd and 8 for Notre Dame from the I formation again. Fake to the tailback. Lovecchio looks for the end zone, double pumps twice, lays it out. Touchdown!
Wow. You talk about determined runs sometimes. Wait till you see this route when you get a chance to see. This is a determined route by Joey Getherall because he gets stoned early in that the route. Just got drilled by the defensive back. I think it was Bulow. Once Bulow's going to hit him right there. And then he gets right back on track. The thing about Getherall, it only takes him about a step or two to get to full speed. So even though he kind of stopped, boom, 2 steps later, he's back in full speed.
28-yard strike, Lovecchio to Getherall. And now the extra point from Seta. It's through and good. So Notre Dame takes the second half kickoff, marches down the field, and the clincher, Lovecchio to Getherall. And Notre Dame recaptures the lead.
Let's go back to the touchdown to Joey Getherall. He's down here matched up one-on-one with Joel Buell. And again, first half they were in 2 out and ups. This time it's to fake the out. Buell knows he's in trouble, kind of stops him, which you can do in college football down the field. But then the quickness of Joey Getherall is able to separate from Buell there again. And then a very happy quarterback. But watch the pump fakes. That was he's faking the out. Great protection, and then good catch by Lavecchio. And then a very happy 18-year-old freshman.
And Thiessen and Lavecchio nearly identical stats to this point of the game. Lavecchio does have the one additional touchdown pass on the tipped ball. But other than that, nearly identical statistics. And now Lavecchio and his Irish teammates have taken the lead. McNew, onside kick attempt. Oh, they had it for a moment. Beckstrom had it in his hands but couldn't hold on, and Air Force will take over in good field position. Beckstrom had it perfectly and could not hold on.
He may have scored.
Yeah.
I mean, this is well scouted. Goes 10 yards. Beckstrom's number 27. There's a big little, there's a little opening there for him. They just got to gather it. And then he's down the sidelines for another 15, 20 yards perhaps.
But Andy Rule pounces on it for the Air Force.
Wow. I mean, that's good scouting. They just did the execution just didn't happen.
So Air Force has it at the 43. First play from scrimmage in the second half for the Falcons. A keeper by Thiessen for 2 yards to the 45. And this time next week we'll be at Churchill Downs in Louisville, starting at 1 Eastern time on NBC, the 17th Breeders' Cup Championship Day from famed Churchill Downs, home of the Kentucky Derby. If you ever seen a $70 million horse, well, there's one in your picture. That's Fusaichi Pegasus, winner of this year's Kentucky Derby. Sold for $70 million. He'll be the favorite in the Breeders' Cup Classic. That's a week from today, the Breeders' Cup from Churchill Downs, 1 Eastern. McKay on the pitch to midfield. Taken out of bounds by Driver and Boyman. Bringing up a 3rd down for the Falcons.
First half possessions in Air Force took them a while to get going. You saw 3 straight punts there, but boy, once they made it, got that passing game going a little bit, opened up that 4th option, they really became a lot more productive. Thiessen got hot.
3rd down and 3. Option, and the pitch is to Brown. Trapped and taken down.
Well, Rocky Boyman.
Well, they played that option well. Rocky Boyman and his teammates stringing it out to the sideline and then taking Brown down.
If Hannibal Lecter played for Notre Dame, he'd be Rocky Boyman. I'm convinced. Rocky Boyman has just got all kinds of hustles. Number 30 right here. First he kind of forces the pitch, then he keeps hustling. Beckstrom does a good job, slows him down, and Boyman finishes him off.
Getherall awaiting the punt by Thompson. Low snap. Thompson got it away despite the Irish rush. Getherall, a rare fair catch, taken at the 15-yard line. 37-yard punt as the Notre Dame defense holds. Now the Irish get their offense back on the field, having regained the lead by 4. Getting a little chilly in the shade, perhaps, here at Notre Dame Stadium. Tom Hammond, Pat Hayden, Jim Gray with Notre Dame leading Air Force 14-10. 10:32 left in the 3rd quarter. Word from the Irish sideline is that Clifford Jefferson, who was shaken up in the first half, has sprained an ankle and will not return to the game today. But the Irish offense on the field at the moment. First down at their own 16. With a hand to Julius Jones.
Last possession, the Irish, it was the best drive of the day, Tom?
Yeah.
And really because they got some of those 4- and 5-yard runs, and that set up the out and up to Joey Getherall.
Yeah, they pounded the tailback play after play, getting good yardage on it, and then hit the big strike for the end zone. Julius Jones now up to 74 yards rushing on 17 carries.
And they'd rather see a lot of 4-yard runs from Julius Jones than, 40-yard runs and 1-yard runs.
He picked up 5 on the last one. Lavecchio in the pocket. shoots Givens, who had broken free.
Boy, did he ever. And Matt Lavecchio, there was an audible. So, started with the head of Matt Lavecchio. Good audible. Saw it. He was coached to call the audible. But then he's got to give it a little bit more air. He's trying to drill the ball there to David Givens, who was running a post route. Gives it a little bit more air. Perhaps he can run under it.
Looking into the sun to get the signal from the sideline. The freshman quarterback from Franklin Lakes, New Jersey.
He is mature beyond his years. Been playing quarterback since 3rd grade.
In the shotgun here on 3rd and 5. Vecchio's pass on target. Getherall trying to retreat to get some space and does pick up the Irish first down across the 30.
A good day for Joey Getherall. In the first half, they ran a couple of out patterns. They ran 2 of them. This is one he caught. And what does that do? That sets up the out and up. Fakes the out. You got the pump fake from Matt Lavecchio. Fights through some traffic. And then the guiding catch. Had some nice punt returns as well. So Joey Getherall's had a really productive day for the Irish.
As you see, 3 receptions for 48 yards, including the score. First down, Notre Dame. Givens in motion. Jones evaded one man in the backfield and then gains a yard or 2 before he's collapsed by C.J. Zanotti. Zanotti from Bay City, Michigan. And he said he had a big contingent coming down for today's game.
Jeff Overstreet on the tackle.
And they get bonus points on defense when you play really well. And C.J. Zanotti gets a lot of bonus, particularly after the Navy game this year. 19 tackles, a couple of sacks.
Meanwhile, there's an injured Notre Dame player, Jordan Black, the starting left tackle. Black, the junior from Rolla, Texas, 310-pounder, who's in his 2nd year as a starter. A much improved offensive line for the Irish this year over last year's edition.
They're giving up, a lot fewer sacks. They still aren't as productive as they want in the running game, but in the passing game, they've been much better.
And while we have a moment, we remind you that the biggest night on television is back. Thursday night, don't miss must-see TV with all new episodes of Friends, Cursed, Will and Grace, Just Shoot Me, and of course ER. Must-see TV Thursday, only on NBC.
Speaking of ER, he's kind of working his way slowly to the sideline. Jim Jones, the guy who plays left him, the left guard, has turf toe, although he's playing today. So that whole left side of the offensive line for Notre Dame is injured right now. Usually John Teasdale is kind of the swing tackle, can play either tackle.
And he is in, Teasdale is, to replace Black.
He was a starter last year, was John Teasdale. Pretty good one.
Senior from Kansas City, 6'5", 305 pounds. 2nd and 9 for the Irish. Lavecchio hangs it high, and Hunter drops it.
Boy, 2 times on this drive, though, they've had him. It was David Givens a little bit earlier, Javen Hunter that time. Boy, pretty good throw, just maybe 2 inches too long. One-on-one coverage.
Tony Metters coverage.
Yeah. They just got a quick jump on him. If you've got to press him, you've got to get your hands on it a little bit. Metters didn't get his hands at all on Javen Hunter, allowed him a clean release.
Hunter did have his hands on the ball, just on the end of it, and couldn't quite hold it. So it is now 3rd and 9. 4 of 7 today on 3rd and long. Lavecchio in the shotgun. Air Force showing blitz. Notre Dame picks it up. The ball tipped and nearly intercepted. Incomplete. It'll really hit the ground before Zach Johnson could grab it.
It's one of those inside linebackers who got her hand up. Sometimes you blitz, you get to the quarterback. Sometimes you just get your hands up and you get a tip ball. Yeah, I think it was 54 C.J. Zanotti.
Perfect timing to tip the ball, and then Johnson made a dive at it. Just barely hit the ground.
Great effort. That's a nose tackle trying to make that play. Johnson.
Joey Hillbold to McKay on the punt. Pressure from Air Force, partially blocked. It'll go out of bounds and around midfield.
Yeah, it was Duffy, I think. Kurt Duffy who got a piece of that one. That is their 6th block of the year.
Kurt Duffy with the block punt. It only traveled 16 yards after Duffy got a piece of it. Great field position for Air Force when we come back. .8:31 left third quarter. 14-10 Notre Dame, but Air Force has just partially blocked a punt. And they have been extra special in the blocked kick department. It's given them a first down at the Notre Dame 49-yard line.
Well, it's 6 this year, but 64 since Fisher DeBerry took over.
Thiessen fakes the handoff, rolls, and delivers the pass complete to Beard, his fullback. And he's knocked out of bounds after a 7 or 8 yard gain by Brock Williams.
Nate Beard, one of the 2 fullbacks they use. Big, strong, powerful legs. Does Nate Beard have 5'10", 220 pounds. 33-inch waist by his size 40 pants to be able to fit those legs in there. About yours, you buy those 40s, right? Just for Halloween.
There's Nate.
Strong runner, really strong runner.
Give him a gain of 5 on the play, so it's 2nd and 5. And Thiessen changing the play. It's the option and the pitch to Brown. And Brown lowers his head and bangs for a first down all the way to the Notre Dame 35-yard line.
They just keep coming after you, Air Force. All the academies do. Just no quit. No matter what the score, they never seem to, lose their sense of confidence. And Mike Thiessen has an air of confidence about him. I think he kind of rubs off on players. One of the leaders on this team. And he's a leader because of his work ethic and because he produces. You don't lead just by personality. He's a guy that's had a lot of production.
Thiessen is a senior from Modesto, California. And again, looking over the defense and apparently changing the play. Got the play off. It's the option. Thiessen jumps under. Fumbles the football. Scrambled forward. It appeared Notre Dame has it. I think Earl recovered it for the Irish. He did.
Glenn Earl's had a great year on special teams for the Irish, but now as a defensive player, the last couple of games, he's really come on.
Thiessen had put together a nice run, and then he just lost the football.
And he had it secure. He just took a shot.
Ripped free.
Yeah. Anthony Denman.
I think it was Tony Driver maybe that ripped it free. One of them.
The Driver's been running that alley all afternoon. And again, it wasn't, a careless ball carry by Mike Thiessen, but good defense by Tony Driver and Anthony Denman. That's a big play.
It gives the Irish the ball on their own 25-yard line. They lead 14-10, 7:47 left third quarter. Vecchio hands to his tailback, Fisher. And he's driven back by the center of the Air Force defense. It's Julius Jones, actually. Palmer leading the defensive charge for the Falcons.
Well, 1 turnover each for these teams. Not many penalties. Air Force has 2. I think Notre Dame only has 4. And Notre Dame, the second half, has played a lot better. A few more, those good grinded out runs and the big pass plays to Joey Getherall.
2nd down and 9. Vecchio with a quarterback drop. Twisted down, short of the first down by Palmer. Matt Palmer's having quite a game in the center of that Air Force defense.
Yeah, Matt Palmer, we talk about him having good foot speed, closing speed, like he's almost like a DB, a defensive back. And yet he's been stout enough inside to kind of take some of those direct fullback and halfback attacks pretty well.
Matt LaVecchio now has carried 5 times for 21 yards. He has a 3rd and 1.
3rd and a yard and a half.
Jones, first down and more to the 45-yard line. Gleason made a saving tackle on Julius Jones. who is approaching 100 yards rushing in this game, now with 87 on 20 carries.
A good crease on the right side. Jim Jones, number 55, did a great job of kind of coming around. Jason Murray, 40, kicks his guy out. Wasn't a dominating block by Murray, but just enough to spring Julius Jones.
Jones has been the workhorse for the Irish today, and I'm a little surprised that we haven't seen Terrence Howard at all. He had the 80-yard touchdown gallop against the Mountaineers last weekend.
Yeah, in the week before, he had a real nice game against Navy.
Jones again. Hit at the line this time and stopped for no gain. Let's check in with Jim Gray.
All right, thank you very much, Tom, with a very special guy. In fact, he's been here for 76 years, 86-year-old Victor Couch. Victor, you were hired by Newt Rockne to be an usher when you were 12 years old. How did that happen?
Well, you see, Newt Rockne would put out a notice that anybody that was a second-class Boy Scout to come because he could use them to help seat the people in the bleachers, because bleachers were kind of hard to navigate because they weren't styled like this, and so we would help especially the older men up. The younger guys, they just bounce up there like everything, you know. We helped the older men up and get their seat, but hardly any women ever came to those games. There was more men. Today, I would say there's more women than men come to the games.
Victor, congratulations. It's been a great year. The reason he is retiring, Tom, he has to come too early to get a parking space. Doesn't want to do it anymore. Just going to watch it on TV. Up to you.
Boy, parking is something here at Notre Dame. And he started back at old Cartier Field before this stadium was even built. And the great traditions at Notre Dame. The pass was complete to Givens on that last play. It's 3rd and 3. Jones, touchdown to the 40. Caught and dropped by Glisson. Again, he saved a touchdown. And Jones very near to breaking it. It goes for 12 yards.
You know, Jordan Black, we saw him limp off a while back. He's back in. And he's one of the guys that threw the key block there. And the offensive line having a big, and the lead block by Jason Murray. Jason Murray gets his face mask and you get out of his way. There was Jason Murray, Jordan Black. The result is a first down for the Irish.
So 1 yard away from the century mark. First down at the Air Force 36.
Your math is impeccable.
That one I can get. Here he is. And
back to 98.
Yeah. Take one away. Nice play made by Johnson.
But that's the kind of thing that's happened to the Irish. They have the nice gain and then gets the 2-yard loss.
Just past the 4-minute mark in the third quarter. Halloween weekend at Notre Dame. And the Air Force Falcons put quite a fright into the Irish early. They led at halftime 10-7. Notre Dame took the second half kickoff, marched down for the go-ahead touchdown 14-10. And Fisher DeBerry's Falcons now backed up to their own 37 with Notre Dame facing a 2nd and 10. Fake the pitch. Lavecchio hangs it up. And Jones cannot run under it.
Okay, good pass rush. Otherwise, that is a touchdown. I think it was Michael Gallagher, number 56, who's put the pressure on Lavecchio. But Julius Jones, you know, it's usually Tony Fisher runs that wheel route. That's time Julius Jones comes out of the backfield, and boy, he was open. But the rush by Gallagher prevented the completion.
Well, Jones to the sideline, and Tony Fisher is in. Gallagher goes out as well. And the Leprechauns don't have victory quite yet.
Is that his Halloween costume, or is that his regular outfit for the games?
Just giving me an idea for a costume.
I'm going as a semicolon again.
Here's a double reverse. Givens gets a block.
Touchdown.
Has another block. And he sails into the end zone for the touchdown. It was Jim Jones that made the first block to spring him. It covers 37 yards and an Irish touchdown.
Well, good calls this half by Kevin Rogers on the 2 touchdowns. You know, one was an out and up, you know, kind of set up before, and that one is a reverse. And you mentioned Jim Jones, the offensive lineman, really battling with a real bad turf toe, who throws the key block for the reverse.
Nick Sena for the point after touchdown. And he sends it through. So the Irish have expanded their lead to 21-10. Mr. Do Everything, David Givens, with some great blocking, easily into the end zone. And Bob Davies' Irish go 75 yards in 10 plays.
All right, can you see it from a little wider perspective so you can see what happened there, guys? Okay, roll it. Okay. Okay, good, good. We'll start it there if that's okay.
It's pretty.
Yeah, nicely designed. Okay, you do this one first? That's Getherall first, right? Yeah, you don't see it. Well, you can't see it from that angle. Yeah. Okay, here and here. Okay. Whoops, that's not a figure eight. Okay. Got it? Because Getherall got it first and handed it to Givens. Yeah. Okay. Late in the third quarter, Notre Dame up 21-10. Beautiful call by Kevin Rogers, the offensive coordinator. Here's Joey Getherall. Here's Givens, double reverse, and watch the how much room there is up at the top of this screen. And then you see this is Jim Jones right in here. Gets the last block, gets in his way. We got perfectly executed. You know, you spend all week designing those kind of plays, and every once in a while the execution turns out pretty good. It certainly did here. And you mentioned Givens does everything. Special teams player, great special teams player, runner, receiver, blocker, and passer last week.
Yeah, what else? McNew to kick off. Amazega and Palmer, the deep men. And here it's taken at the 2-yard line by Amazega. And he'll bring it out to the 25. 23-yard return. And now the pressure on the Air Force offense and their quarterback Mike Thiessen. Last possession they moved the ball, he fumbled it. Notre Dame turned it into a touchdown. Well, she won our hearts in the '98 Winter Olympics, becoming the youngest ever figure skating champion. Tomorrow at 2 Eastern, watch Tara Lipinski take on top pros in an encore presentation of the Metabolife World Professional Figure Skating Championships. Tomorrow at 2 Eastern here on NBC. Option play, Thiessen with a pitch to Brown. Brown did well to get back to the line of scrimmage. Valerio Brown stopped by Rocky Boyman.
Well, Scott Becker in at fullback now for the Air Force Academy. Grew up not too far from here in Granger, Indiana. Always wanted to play in the stadium, but before that he actually worked in the stadium. Kind of worked in the concession stand selling some hot dogs.
There's his beat. And not only did he work in the concession stand, but occasionally he would sneak out. He'd head up that portal and watch some of the action. He didn't care much about selling the hot dogs. It was getting in the stadium to watch it. His dream was to play here, and he is not in a Notre Dame uniform, but is a member of the Air Force team as Thiessen keeps to the 30. And there's a look at Scott Becker. Ironically, when he was at Penn High School, he won the Moose Krause Award and stopped by the statue of Moose Krause outside the stadium here as they came to visit yesterday.
Really a tremendous student, really smart guy. He told us he subscribes to the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, The Economist, and Foreign Affairs.
We said, yeah, but do you read them?
And he does. You're waiting for The Economist to come out with Cliff's Notes, right? With the movie.
3rd and 6 for Air Force. Thiessen dropped back. Fumbled the ball, picked it up again, still on his feet. And he'll be stopped after maybe a yard gain by Anthony Denman, but quite an athletic play by Thiessen just to do that.
Yeah, you shake a couple of tackles, but you don't seem to shake the tackle of Anthony Denman.
Right.
You know, and you're right. A great play by Thiessen just to keep this one alive. Brock Williams, number 1 off the corner, has a shot at him. Harrison has a shot at him. Then Anthony Weaver, 3 guys miss him, but Anthony Denman got it.
Getherall awaiting the punt by Thompson. Dallas Thompson. Getherall lets it hit. And it'll be down by Air Force at the Irish 32-yard line. Punt covered 41 yards. And the Falcons on the short end of the score, 21-10. Wings clipped so far. Well, celebrating a productive third quarter here at Notre Dame as the Irish, trailing at halftime, have taken a 21-10 lead. The two teams have alternated quarters in terms of their productive offenses.
Oh, the band's excited too, aren't they?
Keep reminding you, it is Halloween weekend.
Yeah, I know. They're already primed.
Notre Dame with a first down, just less than a minute left in the third quarter. Blitz comes from Air Force, picked up by Notre Dame. Lavecchio has time, shoots it for Getherall. He's got it. Getherall, 10, tripped out, touchdown! Mr. Electricity, Joey Getherall with another great catch. This one covered 68 yards as he maintained his balance barely to get into the end zone. Nick Setta for the extra point attempt. Looks like it was blocked, but it went through anyway. Partially blocked, and it still makes it through the uprights. So it's 28-10. Joey Getherall, 4 catches, 116 yards, and 2 scores.
Well, Richard Bell, the defensive coordinator, said we're going to blitz. They blitzed 1 linebacker, 1 strong safety, but still picked up. Offensive line did a great job of picking up that blitz, even though Lavecchio got hit late. And then, well, he lays this one out. A perfect post pattern. You know you're going to get man-for-man coverage when you feel that strong safety blitz. It usually means you're going to have a lot of room in the middle of the field. Throw it up high, give it some air, and let your wide receiver run under it. And I'm not sure he could have thrown that ball any further.
And he, on the seat of his pants, watches Getherall stumble into the end zone. Yes!
So, you know, what a difference in this second half by the Irish. I think they've scored on all 3 of their drives this second half. And a couple of big pass plays from Matt Lavecchio to Joey Getherall.
One has the feeling that Bob Davie might have read them the riot act at halftime.
Yeah.
As they were a different team to start the third quarter. And now with 46 seconds left in that period, McNew will kick off again. Palmer and Amazega await McNew's kickoff. Amazega from the 2. And with a head of steam, Amazega to the 27-yard line, about a 25-yard return. Fighting Irish football returns to NBC in 2 weeks, the final home game as Notre Dame takes on Boston College.
Yeah, you know, Boston College has a pretty good running back I'm looking forward to seeing. Willie Green, 10. It's actually William Green. He's 10 touchdowns, over 6 yards per carry. Second leading rusher in the Big East, kind of guy that breaks a lot of tackles, got some pretty good outside speed.
That's Boston College in Notre Dame, Saturday, November 11th here on NBC. Air Force now trailing 28-10 as Thiessen looks over the defense, which is shifting back and forth. 2 seconds on the play clock. And just barely got it off. Well, a flag now comes down. I don't think it was delay, though. I think it's something else. Weaver made the tackle on the fullback Beard. So an illegal shift by Air Force. as they were disorganized from the start on that one, apparently.
Illegal shift on the offense, 5 yards, remains first down.
That's the referee, Claire Gaussman, talked to a little bit before the game.
Mountain West crew.
Yeah, 6th grade teacher and science teacher in Denver, giving his class the whole week off next week to trick or treat, he said.
Yeah, right.
The whole week.
Thiessen completes the pass to Brown.
You know, even though Air Force is by option standards a good throwing team, I mean this is a really tough situation. Down 28-10. I mean they're a good throwing team, but only when they have the threat of the option and the threat of the run to make them a good throwing team.
And that completed pass will bring the third quarter to a close. That's the end of the third quarter at Notre Dame Stadium with the Irish leading 28-10. We'll be back after this message and a word from our NBC stations. The traditional salute to the 1812 overture.
But she thinks she's in Austin. It's a hook 'em horns. I know. You gotta get the arm pump going. We are ready for Halloween around here.
What are you going as again?
Semicolon? Yeah. Last year I went as a comma.
I thought it was a dollar sign.
Yeah, it's very flexible.
21 zip third quarter in favor of the Irish. Puts them up 28-10 as we start the fourth. Thiessen's pass in traffic. Caught. Amazega made the catch despite the defenders being there. Finally dragged down by Glenn Earl. Earl's done a pretty good job at the strong safety spot, spelling the injured Ron Israel today.
Yeah, really good on special teams also today and the whole season.
Pitt and Virginia Tech tied at halftime. Second-ranked Hokies getting a battle from the Panthers. And Clemson trails Georgia Tech at halftime. The ranked teams having some problems.
Yeah,
here's the Oregon time. Option play and the pitch. Brown has a first down. He crosses the 45 to the 47. 13-yard gain. Scotty McKay made a nice block for him.
You're right, Scott. Those lead backs really are good blockers. Number 30, just right there on Beckstrom, allows Brown to reach the corner. He was just trying to cut back inside to create a little bit bigger running lane. Nate Beard, the fullback, also had a key block on that run.
Meanwhile, there's a key Air Force injury. Ryan Fleming, their top receiver.
It's the second time he's gone down this game.
He took that tough hit from Brock Williams, remember, in the first half, and held on to the football. Kind of limped off the field, but returned. And now they tend to Fleming, and we'll take a break. We're back at Notre Dame. Here's Ryan Fleming, number 5 in the white Air Force, who took a shot on that last play, and then while he was down, apparently was kicked in the head accidentally by Rocky Boyman.
Yeah, right there. Yep. And grabbed his head.
So Fleming able to walk off to the sideline and replaced by Labasco. First down for Air Force. Thiessen's pass.
Good catch.
Caught by Labasco and immediately hit by Shane Walton, but it's good for 12 yards and a Falcon first down.
Looked like Thiessen thought he was throwing to Fleming, who's 6'6". The ball was a little bit high to Labasco, 5'9", but really made a real nice catch. You know, when guys, he's down here, make this play, get his hands up, no bobble, just like a vacuum cleaner, just kind of suck that thing right up, no bobble, and when you get hit, you don't lose the ball.
Meanwhile, Fleming is back in the game on this first down play. Thiessen caught from behind and dropped for a loss in the play by Anthony Denman.
Well, he seems to make a lot of plays, doesn't he? Anthony
Absolutely
Denman?
does. Top tackler, top sack man for the Irish.
Top tackle for loss, number 39. He's going to come there. He is right there. He just read it perfectly.
Yep, and ran down Thiessen from behind.
Good closing speed. Again, he and Brock Williams, I think, their attitude is so infectious on the team that this defense has been much more aggressive, certainly than they were a year ago, but I think even more so than they were in the first game.
Here's a reverse. McKay picking his way forward. And only will gain a couple of yards. Shane Walton was ready for it, and looked like Notre Dame expected some sort of gadget play, and we're ready for it.
Well, Air Force, is going to have 12 minutes left here in this fourth quarter. Probably is going to have 3, maybe 4 possessions. So every one becomes really precious. I mean, once you cross the 50 in particular, you have to think about being in a 4-down zone and maybe going for it. So this becomes a very big play at third and 11.
Air Force led at halftime 10-7 over Notre Dame, but the Irish had 21 unanswered points in the third quarter. 3rd and 11. Thiessen got a block from Beer and spots Fleming. He had to come back to get it. Will be tackled short of the first down. Let's see his forward progress. Will be close. Shane Walton drove him backwards. Fleming shaking off the tough hit earlier, and here he makes the catch.
Real good action. Since Fleming's the right wide receiver, all the action went to the left. It left him one-on-one with Shane Walton. It was a big cushion because Walton just thinking, hey, we're up 28-10. Don't give him a touchdown. Quick release by Thiessen. That old shortstop quick release.
They gave him forward progress about 1.5 yards short of the first down, and Air Force will go for it. They've been very good on 4th down conversions. Option, Thiessen, and he'll have it.
It's that midline option, fake to the full. It's not really an option because it's almost like a quarterback keep. Same kind of play that in 1996 they ran very, very successfully. Fake to the fullback here, and then the quarterback keep.
Yeah, Bo Morgan ran that successfully for Air Force in their upset of Notre Dame in '96. And Thiessen keeps for a first down. Play action fake, wide open is the tight end, Jessup.
Oh, boy, is that a catch.
He's got it. Touchdown, Air Force. Jessup, 30 yards from Thiessen.
You see wide receivers adjust to the ball pretty well. Rarely do you see a tight end adjust to the ball like Chris Jessup did right there. Number 87. Now, they should go for 2 because they were down by 11. Isn't that correct?
They're out there ready to go right now. Well, they're going to kick it.
By 12.
Down by 12.
Yeah, see, I need to work on my math. But what an adjustment, though, by Chris Jessup.
Adams for the point after. They'll kick it as they've narrowed the Notre Dame lead. Snap and the kick, and the point after is good.
Well, Chuck Peterson, the offensive coordinator, said, hey, Chris Jessup is the best receiving tight end we may have ever had at Air Force. And you're going to see, well, here he is. The ball thrown way over his shoulder, adjusted, Willie Mays for the touchdown.
Now 28-17, a little togetherness on the sidelines. The Leprechaun with the Cadets. And here's the touchdown. Jessup has only 5 catches all season, but now 2 for scores.
He's a tight end, number 87. And again, you're running the ball pretty well. Bites there, and then the adjustment. I think the amazing thing was the adjustment because he was wide open. And again, you still wonder a little bit about them not going for the 2-point play to make it a 10-point game here. They elected to go for 1, but nonetheless, terrific drive and a great catch by Chris Jessup.
A 9-play drive, and Jessup with the 30-yard reception. And so it's 28-17 with 11:10 left in the game.
Well, I tell you, one thing Air Force has to figure out how to do is slow down this return team of Notre Dame. There they are. There's the blocker. There's the receiver.
Julius Jones averaging 39 yards a return. Thompson barefoot. Jones at the 6. Drive trying to get a block. And this time Air Force swarms on him at the 26-yard line. Jamie Arthur, special teams tackle. Coming up on NBC.
NBC's November events start with SNL's Primetime Presidential Bash. Add Lethal Weapon 4 and Titanic, and you've got a huge November on NBC.
Hard to believe that November looms as October about to play out, and the last October game here at Notre Dame Stadium finds the Irish up 28-17 Lavecchio's hit 8 of 19, but 3 touchdown passes today for the freshman. Here's Terrence Howard. So his first carry of the day as the Irish get their fresh running back into the game. They've got 3 quality running backs.
Remember those touchdowns you're just talking about, Tom, of Matt Lavecchio. I mean, really laying it out, giving Joey Getherall a chance. And then David Givens off the reverse. And then the heave. That wasn't a throw. That was a heave by Lavecchio. Getherall's fun to watch, isn't
Yes, he is.
Punt returns,
Absolutely.
receiving.
Howard got 4 yards on that first down carry. Lavecchio, first man covered, and then decides to throw it away. Again, poised by the freshman.
Yeah, knowing the situation, your team's up 28-17. You know, don't force things. Throw it away. Just as you were saying a little bit earlier, Tom, we talked to him yesterday, and he was really disappointed in himself. Really, and I think it was the Navy game where he felt like he forced the ball a little too much.
And then he said last week against West Virginia, he made some mistakes and he just shook them off and said, you know, you got to go on instead of dwelling on them and perhaps making another because you were still thinking of your previous mistake. That's a sign of maturity, isn't it?
Absolutely. He's definitely improving.
From the shotgun on 3rd down. Lays it up for Hunter, who can't get there. Incomplete. And Notre Dame will have to punt.
Air Force's offense did it last series. Their defense did it here.
You think of Air Force's having to grind it out to score, but they were able to score in 9 plays on their last possession. And they're not out of it yet.
No, you're absolutely not. And they have Corey Nelson, number 42, in there. He's right there. This is the guy that blocked 6 kicks in his career.
Hillbold in punt formation. McKay deep for Air Force.
Scotty McKay is deep.
Low snap. Hillbold picks it up. McKay has to backpedal to get it. And nowhere to go. Surrounded by the special team performers of the Irish. You take him down at the 30. And who else would you expect to be down there? The number 25, Tony Driver, having an All-American season. Tom Hammond, Pat Hayden, Jim Gray at Notre Dame Stadium. 4th quarter, 10 minutes left. Notre Dame trailing Air Force at halftime 10-7, scored 21 straight points in the 3rd quarter to take the lead. But Air Force on its last possession scoring a touchdown to make it 28-17. And Mike Thiessen and the Falcons now with the ball at their own 31-yard line, facing a first down and hoping to get more points here to get back in it.
An 11-point ball game. You still need 2 scores. You take them in either order. You prefer to score the touchdown, obviously, but you'll think field goal if you can.
Thiessen on the option pitch. Brown nowhere to go. Trapped in the backfield and taken down. Brock Williams would not give up. The ball's dead. There was no fumble. Williams was blocked on the ground and still made the tackle.
Yeah, and that's the kind of effort. You know, Greg Madison was talking. He's a defensive coordinator of Notre Dame. I was talking to him this week. And he's saying, you know, we've got a lot of guys giving it a lot of effort. You see it here from Brock Williams, number 1. There he's down, misses the tackle, gets right back up, gets a second chance. You know, you got guys like Lance Legree running sideline to sideline. B.J. Scott, we talked about him. That time was Brock Williams.
2nd and 13. Thiessen, straight drop back. Chased from the pocket. He's got room down the sideline. Thiessen crosses the 40 and ducks out of bounds.
They want a clipping penalty on Ryan Fleming. I think he got in front of the Notre Dame defender.
It's a 12-yard scramble for Thiessen, who picked up the first down.
Yeah.
And Davey is hot.
And they think Ryan Fleming, the wide receiver, had a block in the back. I think he got in front of the guy.
So a scrambling play by the quarterback, Mike Thiessen. Here it is on the right side.
Right side of the screen there.
Head behind. That usually.
You got to get the head in front. That angle, it looked like his head was behind him.
Quick drop by Thiessen. Fires to Fleming. Pass caught right at the first down sticks. Beckstrom all over Fleming.
Boy, you know.
But he's able to hang on despite the hit. He
is amazing.
Got good hands.
For a guy who's 6'6", you see a lot of those guys make the high ball catches. He's a good low ball catcher too.
First down, Air Force.
In and out of the huddle, though. You know, 9 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. You need 2 scores. You can't spend too much time in the huddle.
Fleming on the sideline, replaced by Labasco. Thiessen again will throw. Hangs it up down the sideline. And the catch just out of the fingertips of Amazega.
Let's go. There's been some pretty good matchups in the deep ball game. There's a lot of one-on-one coverage on both sides of the ball. Amazega, number 80, has Beckstrom by a step.
So it'll be 2nd and 10 from the Irish 47. Thiessen has completed 12 of 20 for 140 yards and 2 touchdowns. And as you see some other scores in college football this afternoon. Thiessen has a man wide open. And the catch is made. Stumbling for the first down is Brown. Valario Brown with a first down reception to the Irish 35-yard line. Glenn Earl making a stop there.
These wingbacks for Air Force are pretty good receivers, too. You talk about them as kind of one-on-one guys where they pitch the ball to them, but Valario Brown that time lined up in a slot, ran a little out pattern, well-thrown ball again by Thiessen.
Thiessen passing almost every time now. Whips it again to Fleming. Did he get under it? No, incomplete pass. Sapp and Dykes defending with Beckstrom.
He was open on that curl route. You know, he's run some deep routes. This one is just a little stop and hook. Yeah, that ball is definitely on the turf. Good call.
Couldn't quite get down to get his hands under it.
Where's those real high socks? We were talking to him yesterday about, you know, everything at the Air Force. Everybody does the same thing, you know. You expect that. The real high socks, he says, makes me feel a lot faster.
He's been a handful for the Notre Dame defenders. 5 catches today. Thiessen looking again for Fleming, who was interfered with. No flag, but he caught it anyway and is twisted down at the 25-yard line by Shane Walton.
You know, really great adjustment. We saw it earlier by the tight end Jessup. This time by Fleming. This ball is thrown behind him. You see how he screened him out with his body? You know, you talk about playing basketball, a rebounder. He just kind of screens out the defender and makes himself a target.
So now 6 catches, 75 yards for Fleming.
A week ago, he caught 10 for over 100 yards.
And Air Force continues to drive. First down at the 24. Option play. Thiessen pitching. Ridden out of bounds around the 20-yard line by Williams and Beckstrom. About a 4-yard gain. And out of bounds.
Option offense. You see what Air Force has done. 5 in the middle. Most of those have been kind of quarterback keeps. The fullbacks only carry 3 balls, but pretty productive on the outside. But the passing game, I think that 4th option, left, right, middle, but the 4th option has been their passing game where they've been really effective.
Second down. This is the quarterback, or the fullback, Becker. That's the first option, and Becker keeping it.
I think that's his first carry.
Takes it down to the 15. So the former concession worker here at Notre Dame Stadium, Scott Becker from Granger, Indiana, with his first carry. And about a yard short of the first down.
Well, was he excited about playing in this stadium? You know, he dreamed of playing for Notre Dame growing up not far from here. But,
huge Irish fan.
Yeah.
As a kid.
He snuck into, you know, one of those games he saw was Penn State. I guess he saw Jerome Bettis catch a touchdown pass.
Third down, less than a yard. Thiessen's going to pass. And he throws it away.
Well, you know,
well covered by Notre Dame.
Absolutely. Now it's decision time for Fisher DeBerry. I think on a 3rd and 1 situation, when you need 2 scores, you go for the first down there. But now he's got to figure out, sooner or later, I'm going to have to kick the field goal. Down by 10. He's going for it now, though. He's made the decision to go for it on 4th down.
So 4th down looks like it's a little less than a yard. A crucial play coming up for the Air Force.
The biggest of the game for Air Force.
Ball's at the Irish 15. 4th down. Thiessen to Becker. And
got it.
Becker
I think he got the first down.
The former concession stand worker at Notre Dame Stadium picks up a crucial yard for the first down.
In the same end zone where we used to sell hot dogs. It was down in this end zone where he did it. 2 carries by the fullback in this series. There's only 3 the whole entire game before this series.
First down from the 13. Again, it's Becker. And Becker powers to the 5-yard line. Jerome Sapp and Glenn Earl.
Well, I'm always glad, all the academies don't quit. And they're such determined bunch. No matter what the score, they're going to give you absolute all the effort they have. If they score, they'll need to go for a 2-point play.
Second down. Becker. Touchdown. No,
they gave it to him. Yep.
Yeah, he got it. Touchdown. He thought it was a touchdown. He just broke the play to the end zone.
Giovanetti, I think, recovered it. Another running back. Watch it as maybe he already broke the plane, but the ball comes out. There.
Yeah. I think he was across. Well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it was recovered by Giovanetti, but I thought he broke the plane with it before the ball came free.
Now they need to go for a 2-point play here.
Right.
And again, they've been so successful over the years. Bob Davies looking for that midline option.
Right.
Where you fake to the fullback and the quarterback kind of ducks off tackle.
What about Scott Becker, though? A local high school player.
Great story.
2-point conversion. Thiessen pitches. And the conversion isn't close. No signal. Now, yes, he got it. McKay just able to get the ball across the end zone for the 2-point conversion.
I'll tell you, what a play by Thiessen. He was being tackled when he touched it. And then McKay gets it. Looked like he's going to get stopped by 2 yards short. And he stretches his 5'8" frame out to 5'10" to get in.
He got it. He just barely got the ball across the plane of the goal line. Amazing drive by Air Force. 2 determined plays have put Air Force within 3.
Yeah, Scott Becker crosses the plane really before this ball comes out, but one of his teammates recovers. You talk about determined runs like he's selling hot dogs a few years ago down that same end zone. That's the touchdown. But just as critical was the 2-point play. And watch Scotty McKay really reach out and just get that ball over the plane of the end zone. And that's the 2-point play to make it a 3-point game. So 2 critical plays there. And Fisher DeBerry is the happiest guy in the house. And now you can't even exhale, though. You got to kick it off to Notre Dame.
Dave Adams will kick this one off. He and Thompson have both kicked off, and he did a squib the other time he kicked.
Yep, I think that's what they're going to try to do.
Driver and Jones. He does kick it away. And this time it's Driver, a rare return. And he gets to the outside. He's got blockers. He sheds one man to the sideline and the midfield. Just across the 50, where Palmer catches him after a 44-yard return. Wow.
Tom, I've never seen a team do it consistently. You see once in a while, you see good kickoff returns by team, but I've never seen a team do it this way, this often. They're going this way. This time, Julius Jones throws a key block. Ura, number 23, out in front. There's a key block there by Ura. Murray, number 40, doing his part. So, a lot of room in those running lanes.
What a weapon special teams can be. Vecchio hands to Jones. Stopped at the line of scrimmage by Matt Palmer.
They have been phenomenal on special teams. Not just the return game. They've blocked kicks this year. Good coverage as well. They've, haven't given up a lot of big plays in the coverage part of the game. Tony Driver, as always, a star free safety, does a great job on punt coverage. There he had a nice return.
Driver, the former running back. And look, again, the alternate offenses of these two teams. Fourth quarter so far has belonged to Air Force.
Matt LaVecchio needs a long, grinded-out drive.
Jones, and stopped after a gain of 3 again by Matt Palmer.
big down here for Air Force. Down by 3, 5 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. This is where your defense needs a stop. It's also where they've really kind of sold out and blitzed. Last time Lavecchio burned them with a long pass.
3rd down and 7. Notre Dame clinging to a 28-25 lead. Clock at 4:42 and counting. Lavecchio fakes the handoff, rolls to his right. He's going to keep it, tries to make the sideline, turns the corner, and is stopped short of the first down by Logston, the safety.
Really good defense by Air Force when they needed it this fourth quarter. Another really key play. It's going to be 4th and what? Probably 1, maybe 1.5.
Yep. See where they spot it.
At the 42.
Let's see.
That makes it 4th and 3.
4th down and 3 yards to go. And Notre Dame gets Hillbold on to punt.
Now, what Hillbold wants to do is not punt this ball in the end zone. You know, force a fair catch around the 10-yard or punt the ball out of bounds. But it's an error if you punt this ball into the end zone.
Scotty McKay stands at his 10. Hillbold tries to hang it up.
There's going to be another good special teams play. There by Howard. Yep.
Stopped.
That's Howard.
Short of the goal line.
Terrence Howard. You know, they do it in all phases of special teams, don't they, Tom?
Yeah, they sure do. 37-yard punt, but more importantly, it backs Air Force up deep in their own territory. They'll spot it at about the 5-yard line.
You know, and Terrence Howard, the star of last week's game as a rusher, doesn't pout this week, didn't get a chance to run the ball much. I think he carried it maybe once, but on special teams, he makes a big, big play.
So Air Force, 95 yards away from a touchdown. They would need a field goal to tie. The last time the two teams played, it was overtime here at Notre Dame. Notre Dame shows blitz. Thiessen from his own end zone, and Fleming makes a one-handed catch and drags Shane Walton nearly to the 50.
Unbelievable.
42 yards. He caught it with one hand.
It was like, you know, it was flypaper on his hands. Watch this. Again, just the left hand, the big left hand goes up with a well-thrown ball again by Thiessen. And in those strong hands, it looked like Shane Walton could have knocked it out of his hands, but the real strong big hands of Ryan Fleming keeps the possession.
7 catches, 117 yards. Here's a first down option play. Brown tripped up at the 50-yard line by Brock Williams.
Well, we've talked about the close games the Academy seemed to play. 96, 98, 99. 3 different academies. Right now, Notre Dame's got all they can handle with Air Force, a very determined Air Force team. And in spite of the fact they run what most people would say is a triple option or option attack, they've thrown the ball so effectively, they've been able to come from behind.
Dave Adams, the field goal kicker, on the Air Force sideline. They trail by 3. Clock shows 3:19.
They're thinking touchdown. They'll obviously settle for the field goal, but they're thinking touchdown to win it.
Thiessen, across the middle, wide open. McKay to the 36-yard line, and a late flag comes down. Walton made the tackle.
You know, that was the same play that Leotis Palmer scored on in the first half. The crossing route by the wingback. I think he said face mask by number 1.
Personal foul against Notre Dame.
Well, that should put him in at least field goal range.
Dead ball, personal foul on the defense, 15 yards, automatic first down.
I think I saw the lips of one of the referees, the number 1, Brock Williams, a face mask. We'll see if he. Oh yeah, there it is.
He crunched his head while he was already down. The play had ended.
And they gave him the 15-yard variety on that one.
I think it was personal foul, not a face mask. Okay. It was for the twisting of the head. Option pitch. Palmer Palmer. What a defensive play by Brock Williams. Fought off the blocker and made the tackle for a loss.
Scotty McKay, number 30, and Brock Williams have been locked out there in blocking battles. Now, Brock Williams is a corner, and he's just fighting off the blocks of Scotty McKay, who's ordinarily a pretty good blocker. But I'll tell you one thing, if I were Air Force, I'd be going the other side. It's right down here. Boy.
Second down, 13. From the 24 of Notre Dame. They lead by 3. Thiessen retreats to pass. Throws it for the end zone. No good. Incomplete. No,
it was dropped.
It's dropped. Glenn Earl was defending Brown.
Let's see. The ball is what, on the 23-yard line, is it? 24-yard?
Well, he almost had it.
So it makes it, if they don't get this here, it's a 42-yard field goal attempt. So I think down by 3, Mike Thiessen certainly, first of all, can't get sacked. You know, you don't do the interception, don't get sacked, know the situation of the game. Because you don't want to take yourself out of field goal range.
3rd and 13. Clock shows 2 minutes, 14 seconds. Notre Dame leads by 3.
This is Fleming up here.
Draw play, Palmer. And twisted down at the 18-yard line by Brock Williams.
You know, good call by Chuck Peterson, the offensive coordinator. Realizing the situation of the game, you're on the road, down by 3. Picked up, what, 6-7 yards there? They're going to have to kick the field goal, but still, with a field goal to tie the ball game.
And Notre Dame calls a timeout. 2 minutes and 1 second as Notre Dame calls timeout. And number 11 is Dallas Thompson. He's the Air Force punter. He is the man that in 1996 kicked a 22-yard field goal, apparently to win the game in overtime. And then a penalty nullified it. So he had to do it again 5 yards further back. And a 27-yard field goal by Dallas Thompson won it for Air Force in overtime. Facing the same goalposts, Thompson now will watch his teammate Dave Adams kick what would be a tying field goal.
Well, you just hope he stays with this routine because it's worked for him thus far. Talking about Dave Adams, an unusual routine, but he's had a good season. Long of 45 on the year, 9 of 13 on this season.
The timeout does 2 things for Notre Dame. It saves them some time in case the game is tied to try to come back and win it. And it also ices the kicker, Dave Adams. They'll spot it at the 25. It'll be a 35-yard attempt. Kick is up, and the kick is good. Officially a 34-yard field goal, and Dave Adams has tied the game at 28.
What's the bad news? They got to kick off to Notre Dame. The good news is they're tied.
Well, it looked like Notre Dame was going to run away with the game after scoring 21 unanswered points in the 3rd quarter, and this 34-yard field goal has made it a tie game with 1:56 left.
There's just something about the quality of the men that play at the academies, including the Air Force, of course, the character they have. I mean, they have so much pride. Yeah.
Thiessen, who has engineered the 4th quarter comeback, celebrates a tying field goal. Davey can only watch in dismay and now try to regather his troops. Already Notre Dame has played an overtime game, losing to top-ranked Nebraska.
Well, I have to believe they should squib this one. I mean, I'm surprised they continue to kick the ball deep.
There's Adams as out of the crouch to kick it through. But as you said, the bad news is you've got to kick off to Notre Dame, and the Irish have averaged nearly 36 yards a return today.
Yeah, and I'm not talking about a real short squib because, you know, there's 2 minutes left in the ball game. You get one down there 30, 40, 50 yards with a little top spin on it.
Well, kicking it deep hasn't worked very well. Let's see what they do. It's Adams to kick it, and he kicks it away. And he kicks it into the end zone. Fielded there by Jones, who will come out with it. Julius Jones almost broke free. He's tackled at the 21-yard line. Special teams play by Andy Rule, who earlier covered a fumble. 21-yard return by Jones with 1:51 on the clock. And the freshman, Matt Lovecchio, at quarterback for the Irish.
You know, Matt Lovecchio has played beautifully today, but this is a new situation for him, really. Less than 2 minutes left in the ball game. Score is tied at 28. You have 2 timeouts, and what he's really done thus far is made good decisions. He's not forced the ball. They're not behind. Don't take too many chances. But, boy, he's got some pretty good and dynamic wide receivers.
Lovecchio in the shotgun. The ball spotted at his own 21-yard line. Tie game. And that play stopped. Illegal procedure will cost the Irish 5 yards.
The Irish only have 6 penalties. Air Force only has 3.
Dead ball. False start. Offense, 5 yards. Remains first down.
So now the ball spotted back at the 15-yard line, just across the 15.
Maybe it might have been Jordan Black, a little anxious. Sometimes you do that in these 2-minute drills.
Lovecchio. Sacked back at the 8. Fumbled the football, but it was ruled down. The ball down. And Matt Palmer. Oh, man, he has had the game of a lifetime today. The senior from Boulder has been a thorn in Notre Dame's side throughout the contest.
Well, you know, now right around the corner, coverage sack, really, although the quick feet of Matt Palmer gets him there again.
That ball looked like it might have been out as Lovecchio was on the way down. Lovecchio in danger of a safety, just manages to get away and then completes the pass. Caught by Hunter, and he is stopped at the 24-yard line by Glisson.
This would be kind of fun. Watching both of these guys, these quarterbacks scramble around and make plays. But again, Lovecchio, he may be 18 years old, but he knows exactly what's going on. He senses, he feels, he knows he's in the end zone. Get the heck out. Was going to throw the ball to his right tackle for a second there.
He was looking to throw it to you or me or somebody at that time because he was able to scramble out of the end zone. And then, having done that, he said, well, I might as well complete the pass. And he did for 16 yards. Timeout. It'll bring up a crucial 3rd down. Air Force calling the timeout.
Now they both have 2 timeouts remaining. You know, big play of the game here. Now, most of this game on this down, Richard Bell, the defensive coordinator, has elected to blitz. Either 1 or 2 linebackers plus a strong safety. And I think right now you back off a little bit because they've been burned quite a bit in the passing game this second half. There's Richard Bell, the defensive coordinator, called a good game.
You ever seen a game seesaw back and forth as dramatically as this one?
And really some remarkable catches. You know, the one-handed stab by Fleming, the great catch by Jessup, the tight end. We saw the
Getherall.
Getherall's catch. Yeah, you know, the volleyball touchdown catch by Javen Hunter, tipped by David Gibbons. You've seen a little bit of everything.
Yeah, we sure have. Falcon has 2. He's
gnawing on something right about there, doesn't it? Something's got stuck in his throat.
They hope it wasn't a little Irish something. 1:02 on the clock. 3rd and 6 for Notre Dame at the Irish 25-yard line. 28-28 the score. Lovecchio, 3rd down shotgun. Whips it over the middle, incomplete. Tony Fisher, the intended receiver. Pass broken up by Glisson. It's 4th down.
Well, Air Force is going to get the ball back in reasonably good field position with 2 timeouts remaining. You see 58 seconds of it. They still have 2 timeouts. And this is an Air Force option team that can throw the ball.
No, it's been a productive passing game after a very slow start. I think Thiessen went about 5 attempts before completing his first pass. Hillbold will punt. Scotty McKay draws a beat on it and gathers it in. stumbles and falls at the 36-yard line. Howard might have gotten a piece of him. Only a 3-yard return of a 44-yard punt.
You're right. That is one of those little things. Terrence Howard, number 32, saved what could have been a big punt return by Air Force. And Terrence Howard hadn't carried the ball for 100 yards or anything like that today, but that was a significant play by Terrence Howard.
And Adams staying ready just in case. From their own 36, Thiessen. He's going to lay it up for who else? Fleming. Fleming's got it! Fleming has the ball to the 15 of the Irish. They'll mark it about the 17-yard line. And Ryan Fleming has been unstoppable.
Just phenomenal, Tom. Just absolutely phenomenal.
47 yards.
This doesn't look like Air Force. This looks like BYU throwing the ball every day. And successful. And, you know, they know they're going to throw the ball to Ryan Fleming, and you just can't stop them. Now, they're in field goal range right now, right? They can win the ball game. 41 seconds remaining. I think it's important that Thiessen get the ball in the middle of the field to give his field goal kicker a good chance. They have 2 timeouts.
Thiessen to Becker.
That's the play. Right in the middle of the field now.
Denman tackles him. Meanwhile, Ryan Fleming, Pat, 8 catches, 163 yards.
I think it's the 3rd straight game he has been over 100 yards in receptions.
As Thiessen and Fleming put the air back in Air Force.
19 seconds remaining in the ball game. They have 2 timeouts. So they should run 1 play probably to attempt the field goal.
See the clock ticking now, under 10 seconds. Becker to the 10. Timeout, Air Force.
3 seconds.
With 3 seconds on the clock. Same end zone as 96 when Air Force kicked a field goal, that time in overtime to beat Notre Dame, upsetting the 9th-ranked Irish. Now the 19th-ranked Irish find themselves in the same situation with Dave Adams to attempt a game-winning field goal.
The only thing I would say here with 3 seconds, on 3rd down, I would have saved myself a little bit more time, maybe 6 or 7 seconds, just in case you had a bobbled snap on 3rd down.
Right.
You could do it on 4th down.
Well, I wonder if Dallas Thompson has had any words for Adams.
He can relate. That guy can relate. Adams has done doggone well under the pressure here today. There's a guy.
So is Thiessen.
Yeah, a guy that's going to be flying jets in about a year. I don't know if it's flying jets.
Playing baseball.
Yeah, we're playing baseball. I don't know what's going to be more fun, flying jets or.
No, it'll be hard to top this.
Yeah,
if
right.
They can kick a winning field goal. Air Force once again bidding to shock Notre Dame. The fans here at Notre Dame Stadium in disbelief. Look at the unity on the sideline. Fisher DeBerry right in the middle. Gallagher, the snapper, bounds the holder. And a timeout to ice the kicker from Bob Davie.
I don't know. These are guys that fight in wars, that fly jets and all those guys. You think you can really ice guys like this?
Adams, the junior from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, goes back over the sideline. The field goal attempt will be 28 yards, 1 yard longer than the game winner in 96. Well, they say lightning never strikes twice in the same spot.
Now look at their helmets. Lightning bolts on both sides.
Gallagher snaps, bounce, holds. Dave Adams kicks from 28 yards for the game winner.
Glenn Earl blocked 2 punts this year. And now the field goal attempt. He's number 19. Right here, I think. Is that he? Yep, that was he. Right hand on it. Glenn Earl. Now, Glenn Earl was a high school star running back. Used to return kicks, but never block kicks until he came to Notre Dame. His third block of the year, none more important.
Thiessen reacting to the blocked field goal, but now we're headed to overtime, just as in '96.
Unbelievable game.
Refresh your memory on the rules. Notre Dame knows them well. They lost to Nebraska here in overtime earlier this season.
The other team then gets the ball first and 10 at the 25.
Here's the coin toss.
Win the game. If there are 2 rounds of overtime, in the 3rd round,
Call it. Go ahead, please. He calls tails. There's the flip. It is heads. You've won the toss. You're choosing to go on defense. Okay? You're going on offense. Which end do you wish to defend?
We want to go that way.
You want to go that way? We're just right the way we are, correct? Okay? White is going to go in this direction. Okay? Good luck to you guys.
Air Force chooses to go in the same direction, which they won in overtime in '96. Back for overtime after this from your local station. Air Force at Notre Dame headed into overtime after a wild finish to regulation. Air Force scoring 18 points in the 4th quarter. This was the Adams field goal that tied the game. Then after the Air Force defense held Notre Dame, Thiessen would get the ball back and hit Fleming to put them in range to perhaps win it with another Adams field goal. Adams lining up from 28 yards, sent it on its way, but Glenn Earl with a block. And Thiessen knows he'll have to go out on the field for overtime. We're tied at 28.
You know, just looking at Mike Thiessen's face right there, I mean, you realize, hey, shake that off.
And what a dramatic contrast in overtime records. Air Force 3-0, Notre Dame 0-3. Thiessen begins at the 25. Waiting to reset on the sideline to get it ready.
You know, as a quarterback in this situation, you just hate waiting at the line of scrimmage when you're out of the huddle.
$80,000 coming alive. Option play. Becker plows to the 20-yard line. Stopped by Legree. It'll be 2nd down.
Lance Legree, number 90 for the Irish. Haven't called his name a lot today. Was had a big season. One of those hustle guys. Greg Madison, defensive coordinator, saying this guy has made more plays on the sidelines than you could imagine for a defensive tackle.
Becker's carried 7 times for 21 yards and a touchdown, all in the 2nd half. Changing the play now. Thiessen again gives it to Becker. And he gets about 4 yards this time before Harrison gets him to the turf. Becker's been the workhorse here late.
Absolutely. Another really big down. It's 3rd and about 1. And I always think if you had a guy running like that, who's, I mean, nothing for Scott Becker, this game means everything. You know, he's a senior. He grew up not too far from him. I'd give him another chance in 3rd and 1.
3rd down in the yard. Becker, the lone setback behind Thiessen. Thiessen has it, keeps it, just caught by the shoe tops at about the 7-yard line by Rocky Boyman.
Yeah, Rocky Boyman saved the touchdown. And you never know when that play, even though it's a 1st down, you're kind of depressed about that, but Rocky Boyman just did a great job of hustling and then just hanging on. Number 30, right here. Just gets by the, otherwise Thiessen gets in the end zone and forces Notre Dame to respond with a touchdown to keep the game alive.
So the Air Force does pick up the 1st down. So 1st and goal from the 7. In overtime. Again the option, and again it's Becker who fumbled the ball.
Boy, some real quick penetration by Notre Dame. And in that option play, Thiessen doesn't really know whether he's going to give the ball to the fullback or not until the very last moment.
Sort of ride him for a step.
Absolutely.
And Air Force able to recover the football. They'll be second down. Well, a little Irish luck Bob Davie would appreciate on this Halloween weekend, as the Air Force Goblins came to haunt again at Notre Dame Stadium. Lost a yard on that play, so it's second and goal from the 8. Blitz comes from Notre Dame. Thiessen tipped and almost intercepted, not quite. Driver tipped it in the air and tried to collar it, couldn't quite hold on, but it'll be third down.
Well, there have been so many guys in this game, Tom, who played well, and Tony Driver's one of them. I mean, both teams have had some really good play. Tony Driver primarily in the run game has really kind of stuffed some option plays, but they're just kind of almost picking it off. He's played well in special teams.
Ryan Fleming into the game. He's been the money receiver. He's wide to the bottom of the screen.
Well, I would double him. He's right down here.
Thiessen ran the option.
And it was Anthony Denman who just stopped him.
And stopped in his tracks by Denman, so it's fourth down.
Never got started. One more time, Anthony Denman makes a big play, and here comes the field goal attempt to put him up by 3.
Thiessen never had a chance to even make his reads. No. He was collapsed by Denman immediately. So the field goal attempt. Dave Adams.
Here's the man to block the last one, Glenn Earl.
About a 26-yard attempt. And it's good. So Air Force scores 3 on its first possession in overtime, and now Notre Dame will start at the 25 and can win it with a touchdown. The Adams kick.
Yeah. I think Air Force fans wish that was the one at the end of the game. Right. It's such an advantage in this overtime situation, Tom, knowing what you have to do to win the ball game. And that's why, even though Notre Dame won the toss, they elected to defer.
Go on defense first, so you know what you have to
exactly right.
beat. Adams successfully kicking it through. And now young Matt Lovecchio directs the Notre Dame offense from the Air Force 25. They put the ball at the left hash, where they start with an offset eye. Now Lovecchio fakes the handoff to Jones, rolls to his right, lofts for Gibbons in the end zone. No catch out of the end zone.
The officials were looking at one another. They didn't rush the call. I'll give them credit for that. They did not rush this call. One back judge was thinking about raising his hands up, but he looked into the eyes of the other judge. Here's the back judge. There's the catch. That's a touch. You think he came down on the line? He has possession. His knee's down.
Did his knee go down first?
Well, the ball may have come down right on the back line. One more look. He certainly has possession.
Possession there, knee. I don't know. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
In any event, it's 2nd and 10. This is a handoff to Jones. They just had one man to beat, and Gleason made the touchdown-saving tackle. First down, Notre Dame.
Boyman did it before for the Irish, and Gleason does it for the Falcons. It gives them the first on the 13-yard line.
Jones over 100 yards rushing today, 113 yards on 26 carries. Now the ball at the 13. First down, Notre Dame. Jones again, this time Air Force came with a blitz, and they stopped Jones before he could make the line of scrimmage. Meinrod was all over him. Second down after a loss of 2 on that play at 2nd and 12. Lavecchio from the shotgun. Screen pass set up. Jones dodges one. Slips another tackle and twists his way to the 9-yard line. Palmer got him down for good.
Boy, Zanotti, number 54 for Air Force, saw that, read it quickly. I thought he was going to tackle Julius Jones for a loss, but Julius Jones was able to dodge him and make a nice little gain, what should have been a loss. Good read by Zanotti.
Ball just inside the 10. It's 3rd down and 6. Nick Setta, the kicker for Notre Dame, would be called on if this 3rd down try does not succeed. And timeout.
1 timeout per overtime.
Timeout called by Notre Dame. Lavecchio to the sideline for consultation. We're in overtime. Air Force kicking a field goal on its first possession. Notre Dame trying to at least answer and hoping for the winning score. They face the 3rd and 6 from their own 9-yard line, or from the 9-yard line.
Tom, this is a situation that over the years, Kevin Rogers, both at Syracuse and at Notre Dame, has run a play that they call Y high. And they've run it successfully over the years. They just let a lot of, it's kind of you wait. One tight end kind of runs a crossing route, one delays. And they've found some tight ends wide open over the years.
Nick Setta knows about pressure field goals, kicked a 38-yard game-winning field goal against Purdue.
Something about having my kicker wear number 13.
Well, Setta didn't bother him. He's the very gregarious young man who challenged anybody to say that was bad luck almost.
Remember, he told us his mother, when he was playing youth soccer, he had a number 13. His mother made him change his number. She thought it was unlikely.
The Irish hope it doesn't come down to that. They'd like to get a winning touchdown. Third and 6. I formation. Murray and Fisher in the I. Lavecchio. Reverse to Getherall. Getherall needs a block. Touchdown! Two coaches, combatants only a few moments ago. Now with hugs and congratulations on a college football game to savor.
Great call, Kevin Rogers. Terrific execution. Big blocks by Jim Jones, number 55. Jeff Fain, the center. And then a once more determined run by 5'7", 170-pound Joey Getherall.
Getherall finishes the game with 116 receiving yards, 22 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns, including that game winner. Touchdown. Bob says he's got his headset off and celebrating before Getherall crossed the goal line. Joey Getherall carries it, diving across for the winning score.